Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 10th point, season 7, week 2. This is the Red Mage, and joining me this week is Gosmith on the line. Hi, Gosmith. Thanks. We are pretty much getting ready to watch some incredibly powerful magic for our friend with some of our friends. Just sorry, before we get started, Gosmith, why don't you talk a little bit to people about what we're doing here? Um, no, I'm going to create to make the next event at some point through the week. Yeah, information on the website is a little outdated right now, but we have plans to update it probably throughout this week. We'll see how that goes. Um, Also, I just also want to give a reminder to everybody watching that if you felt like throwing us a sub, that helps a lot. We can it kind of lets us do stuff like offer prizes at the end of the season, that sort of thing. So especially if it's your Prime sub, that should definitely go to somebody. So if you feel like throwing it our way, that means the world to us. And if you would rather do something different, that is also fine. Just make sure that your Prime sub goes to somebody. And if you want to throw us a regular sub, that's even amazing. That's amazing. We would love that. So yeah, just a reminder that that is an option. With that said, let me pause these pairings and let's watch some magic. So what are we gonna watch actually? So nobody has mentioned that they're not able to set up camera, which is okay. Sure, let's watch some. All right. Yeah, ADK was here last week, so he should be able to. Yeah, so both of these people were here last week, so they should at least have a. Yeah, TidehollowCat has entered an event or two in the past. Oh, the game is already underway. Actually, I made a mistake because I didn't realize that the player could see the rounds. So so yeah, no, yeah, I will make sure not to randomly pair people before we're ready to watch them next time. That one's on me. And I accidentally joined the other call. Sorry, I was trying to get my overage accounts in the.
Aristocrats kind of deck. If you're not familiar with Aristocrats, it's a sort of grindy, attrition-y, low-curve aggro deck that uses a lot of creatures that when they die or into the battlefield, they make tokens. So like Doom Traveler, that's a 1/1 that makes a 1/1 flyer when it dies. And then using cards that either trigger on death or sacrifice, and then sacrifice those creatures for making tons of blood artifact triggers or generating cards with Skull Clam, while still putting on some creatures that hit for a couple points at a time.
Yeah.
Definitely a bit of a resilient kind of little threat deck. It can definitely also have some weaknesses at times. Yeah, it does look like they're still on that list as far as I can currently see.
Okay.
And we seem to be having 80k seems to be on a so-called Paradox Academy type of list. It seems like, as far as I can see.
Yeah, they were doing so as well last week.
That makes sense. For those not familiar, Paradox Academy is a deck based at large, but not completely, around its two characteristically named cards, Paradox Engine and Tolarian Academy. If you're not familiar, Tolarian Academy is a land that makes 1 blue for each artifact you control, allowing you to generate a ton of mana that way, since the deck plays quite a lot of mana generating artifacts. Likewise, Paradox Academy is a 5-mana legendary artifact that says whenever you cast a spell, you may untap all other, or even all non-land permanents, I can't remember it untaps itself, allowing you to, once again, cast a lot of your mana rocks, and then generate a ton of mana that way.
Oh, I am sorry about that.
Yeah, so we're actually seeing a bit of a, I believe, a new card here. Jumpstart. I can't remember the name, to be completely honest. I think it's Circap or something along those lines.
Yeah, if the players could share their hand, that would be pretty lovely. I've been.
Zerzoth.
Thank you kindly. Who I haven't actually seen that much hype around, but definitely an interesting choice. A creature that forces both players to loot, and when the opponent draws too many cards, you start making these Goblin tokens. These Devil tokens instead. That can be a bit of annoyance. Also seeing the aforementioned Skull Clamp, definitely a great card about the engine that says whenever a creature is equipped to dice, you draw 2 cards, and it's cheap to play, cheap to activate and equip, and it even gives negative toughness to young creatures, which is interesting. So when you have a 1 toughness creature, like a random token, suddenly you can turn that card into a 1 mana draw 2 out of thin air, apparently. We saw a turnabout here, I believe, to the creatures of Cat, attempting to slow the bleeding a bit. trying to set up something with their apparent, I think it's a reshape and a is it signet that we're seeing in hand somewhat. Yeah, makes sense. Get on the signet here. You can't really use the mana from that Mishra's, I was gonna say factory, Mishra's workshop, which makes 3 colors mana that can only be used to cast artifacts. I don't believe they can be used for activated abilities, if I'm correct.
No, it cannot.
Which means the signet here cannot be activated with it. We're going to see the reshape here come out. I am curious as to what they're going to get. I imagine some sort of card as engine. Though they might also just be dead on board if they don't get some sort of answer. I'm not sure how much damage is on board. I believe it's 2, 3, 4. I think that's 8 damage on board. But with a grip of 7 cards from your opponent, it's pretty safe to guess that they have someone.
It's 9 damage on board because the free devil from Zerzoth.
Does it attack immediately?
No, you can just sack it though, and it does damage.
That is true. You can sack it to the skull clan. That is correct. We see a staff here. Interesting choice. Allowing for more untap, and once you have a lot of mana, a great way to just draw a bunch of cards and gain some life and stuff. Imagine it's just going to be used to, for now, probably gain some life. It's a bit too expensive to activate and get like card draw such.
It might also be used to keep. No, well, I was gonna say I was gonna probably keep Zerzoth down, so you're not putting more bodies on the table. But that is lethal on board.
Yeah, like when the tokens die, they deal 1 damage. So that's a great way to just activate that Skull Clam, quip, draw some cards, pop you for 1, pop you for 1, pop you for 1. As long as you have those tokens generating. We'll see a Blahguy here, and that's gonna have haste, as the opponent does currently have 10 life. However, I imagine we're gonna see some gaining up to the life.
No, they're gonna tap down Zerzoth.
Are they gonna tap? Yeah, I suppose. I'm not sure. How much life does it gain?
1.
Is it only 1? Yeah, that might be a bit better to just trap it down in that case. If you gain like 3 life, I think it would be actively the same. And then you might be able to like travel 1 time again. But it makes sense. If there's only 1 life.
Zerzoth is currently a 6/4, so.
Yeah, true. It would be 1 damage difference, you're right. And you stop the opponent from using the Zerzoth, which currently is not in your favor, as you draw a card and then discard that same card. Not giving you a lot of value that way, outside of giving your opponent a not devil token. Something you'd rather prefer not. Just seeing the... I'm not sure. I imagine we see the consideration of maybe sacking the Zerzoth here, perhaps with some sort of spell, because if it does get, if the Blahguy here does get removed, that is a definite L of Zerzoth due to the equipment's volatile nature, to put it lightly. Yeah, we're seeing that down here, no response. Like, just gonna get in for, I believe it's 4 currently.
He could also be taking 7 because the warrior.
We see the equip, yeah. And then we can... could it even be more than 7, honestly? It could be 8. Yeah, 8. By equipping his Skull Clamp as well. I do believe, is that what token is that? Do we know what token that is? It's not quite clear without the art.
It's Goblin. It's a Goblin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd probably move it over to the Blahguy because you're probably going to cycle it anyways.
Yeah, I'd wait for that. At least the Skull Clamp at some point. Especially if you still have a land drop. And especially if you have fetches. I do believe they have play a land turn, it seems like. Which feels like a bit of a mistake when you have like a broadcast as well.
The Catacombs first.
Yeah, that does feel incorrect when you have a broadcast and a Skull Clamp, where you can easily just quip it, gain some cards that way for free. Especially because that might give you a way of just finding the lethal, opposed to like, I'm not sure how many like lightning bolt type effects there are, but you can find like a blood artist, and that's a way to just finish the game immediately. Gonna play the Carrion Feeder here, which I'm curious about, because the Vulture Battle Gear costs 0 to equip. Like, sure, you put a count on your on your creature. But I imagine it might just be better to... Yeah, we're going to see the Slot Crit and the Blahguy to the block that, as we did mention them. Just want to get into the counter damage. Putting it down to 2. Likely, I imagine not sagging. Actually, I think I'd be fine just sagging it here, because next turn you can get back easily. The only downside, now you tap all your black sources, which I understand why you did, is that suddenly you can't keep up with that tragic slip that you have in hand now. Probably not that important in a matchup where he plays a couple creatures, and those creatures are there for the TP effects usually for tutoring a card. So not like that's the card that's probably going to be high importance, especially with your opponent 2 and you're at 16. Yeah, we're going to see a rather irrelevant card in defense grid here. Great at stopping your opponent from casting removal spells and counter spells on your turn. Not that great from not dying to a ball of creatures, apparently. So we're going to have to see if we can find something off that staff somehow. Probably going to draw a card to start off with. See if they can find something. Maybe Academy, maybe a Paradox Edition if they have that. They have what? 3, 6, 9. I count 11 mana currently. And I count a game over here. So well. I do believe they had a chance to draw into something like, I'm not sure specifically what might have gotten there, but I think there were options at least. But there was definitely not a great situation. We do see a couple of interesting things here. We see Tidal with a bunch of mana dorks, some a Blood Artist-like effect, and a Promise of Bunrai. Or Bunrai? Bunrai?
This has gotta be the only format where you can actually put unironically put a Promise of Bunrange into your deck.
I have seen it in Modern at one point. It's been a while, but I really did see play in Black-White Tokens in that, at one point, actually, when that was a deck. We see a bit of Mulligan from Decay. I actually quite like the previous hand, but I haven't got enough experience. I think there might have been a one might have done it. Don't think you want that Pack of Negation in this matchup. I'm not sure what they put. Might have been something where, yep, makes sense getting rid of the pack as well. That is a bit of an awkward hand. You have a no mana ram, you're a 5 card. You do have the asset to find you some cards you need currently. But you're up against a deck that can put on pressure. This is not the kind of hand you want. You want to be going fast and have one card. You're not that scared of being hit by like a counterspell or an acquisition or something. You just want lands, mana ram, and then cast like a windfall effect or something, and then just go up from there.
Yeah, just
Zero Trader, not bad. Definitely a good starting point. Not the card I think you want to be playing here, as you really need the mana it produces still. I'm curious to see if we do see the ability. Are we going to see an instant killing off of this noble, or are we just going to see it kept around and try and just tear it up next turn? I think either's an option. You do see it kept around. Blahguy, that's going to be able to both activate the Promise of Bunrai and help with the plot. What is that one called? I believe something noble, if you remember correctly. It is not.
What's that?
The black-white creature from War. Cruel Celebrant is his name. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, you do see the Celebrant and a another mana dog come down here. Makes sense, just develop a Horror state here. Celebrant currently a 1/2, so not currently able to die to Ballista, and probably don't expect that one to die next turn either. Time Twister, and that's actually pretty good. It's significantly better than that Mind Slaver is in this matchup. Like, not that Mind Slaver is horrible. You can sack your opponent's entire board at times. But getting to the mana to both play and then activate it can definitely be awkward at times. That said, if you do get a Mind Slaver off against the Aristocrats and then make them just sack all the creatures in an awkward manner, that can really hurt. We see the Ballista just come in for 2 here. Makes sense. You can't really block properly right now, especially with the noble hierarchy giving it solid trigger to anything that might attack. We do see Mandor killed off here. I am curious about that choice. Probably just gonna do some damage long term that way. But we're gonna see both Mana Dogs killed off here. I'm interested in that decision. Are you trying to hurt your opponent's mana base or just slow them down? I'm actually just slowing down as the intention. But you still take the damage of the Celebrant. And you'd like spend 2 turns doing that. Bit curious element. See the Blahguy here, just getting 4. I like that a lot. Just try and put on some pressure.
Beep beep.
Bit awkward now because you can't really use it as a thing, which makes your opponent's burn rate a tad bit awkward. However, you did draw the Nest Invader, and Invader is a great way to activate a burn rate.
Yeah, although to be fair, like Cruel Celebrant is a high value, is a high enough value creature that like I think even if you could just move the promise of Bonrai somewhere else to do something with it, they probably wouldn't.
Oh, you mean across the wall, Jefferson?
Like I don't think it would chuck your idiot away, your Cruel Celebrant away just to trigger the promise of Bonrai. That does not seem very productive.
No, I'm with you. That's the thing.
I guess you have an Unearth in place.
Yeah, true. You do have an Unearth. That is correct. Definitely do it post-combat, absolutely, if you do that. I was just thinking of actually just playing the Nest Invader instead and just activating that. We do, however, see this title skull we just seen and now something. Curious to see if that one might come down. We don't. We see the Unearth and the Nest Invader here. I'm curious about that line of play. It does allow both cards being able to be played next turn, which I do quite like. I was just curious if Promise might have been better, but I don't think it was actually. Doesn't put on pressure immediately, so because you can only activate it really in the turn following. So yeah, I actually like this line of play a lot. You couldn't actually play the Tidehollow and the Unearth either way due to only having one black source. So yeah, this was a solid line of play from Tidehollow. I like it. We see another land on Tepper, both it and the Minamayo and this new temple are ways that are to untap your Teleron Academy should you have it. We do in fact not have it currently, and we're getting quite beat down here on the side of Decay. I'm going to be wanting to try and see if you can find some way out of this, possibly with that compulsive first 4 compulsive. Wait, what is it called? First for knowledge. That's the one. I was thinking of the compulsive research.
Which card are you talking about, sorry?
Yeah, I was just messing up cards in my head, switching around. We see the 1 powers in this card. Interesting. Choosing to keep the Mindslaver around. I do quite like that, considering you see the opponent with a corrupted war gear, and you can just suddenly, if you get the chance to slam it down and activate it at some point, you can just clear your opponent's board, most likely, with no one corrupted war gear, which is such a great play. Another possibility is next turn, just playing an Evil and just getting back on board quickly, which I expect to happen actually.
How much mana does he have for this upheaval though?
He currently has
3, 4, 5,
yeah.
6.
So next turn,
land in hand.
yeah, exactly. You sadly the one downside to it is that you cannot actually play a land the same turn, due to the fact that your workshop cannot, unless you draw like a untapped mana rock.
I mean,
you can't really play a land the same turn.
You would go upheaval, replay the basalt monolith, go. It's not the best upheaval.
Yeah, likely. Float the 3 mana from the workshop and
yeah.
Well, live afterwards. However, I am actually going to see the upheaval or the Mindslaver.
Uphealing.
The problem to take Mindslaver here is that, like, yeah, Mindslaver is going to destroy a board, but you can kill them before that.
Like,
and the upheaval is going to give them more time, which is what you don't want. The Time Twister doesn't really seem like a big deal, honestly. Like, you have so much damage, and if they're going to draw you into more cards and help you deal more damage, doesn't seem like a problem. And the War can't even be cast currently. Well, it can, but it's going to be awkward because you're going to have to untap when your blue source is doing mana that way with the Deserted Temple. So all in all, I just like it. Yeah, just get in here, play the Deserted Temple, the Promise of Bunrai here, and then probably end of turn crack the spawn of your opponents. Actually, you need to do that to cast it. That's actually interesting. Do you crack the Cruel Celebrant here to make a bunch of free 1/1s? I think I don't like doing that specifically due to the fact I know I have a Mind Saver and an upheaval under my tiles, so just in case. I think I just like keeping it around for now.
Tinker, you say?
Oh yeah, Tinker is definitely a big deal. That is one way to possibly get out of the situation. I'm not sure what exactly the.
Is he playing a house?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what you get here.
Can you get
you
the
want
house?
Something. Anything that can generate you a ton of mana here somehow could help you maybe play the Mindslaver, possibly. That is one thing I'm thinking of.
I mean, he doesn't have very much artifact mana.
No,
like,
you don't have a lot of artifacts.
If he had more life, I think the correct play would be to get the house and just play off the top of your deck for a while. But
what house?
With 7, Bolas is Cyrano. Sorry.
Ah yes. I'm not sure if does Paradox again play that. I was imagining.
I'm going off of vintage deck. This is usually in a vintage paradoxical outcome decks. That's
I don't believe you play that. I believe you play the one that's been currently banned in vintage, the one you played in the workshops as well.
Mystic Forge. I thought you. I mean,
Mystic Forge. I
would see them playing both. But it's
think
possible that Bolas' Citadel is a little rough because you can only tinker into it. You can't actually play it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one problem. Well, you can play it, but it's kind of awkward when you have to play it. You already have somewhat awkward mana.
Yeah, black mana. You probably don't play black mana in your deck.
Yeah, I think it's just better to just rely solely on the Mystic Fortune card. We're just going to see Mindslaver come down here. We're 1 mana off activating it. However, could we somehow tinker into a? I believe it is 4 mana to Mindslaver, yes.
So he could tinker into
yes, it is.
Something that chromatic. Oh, you tinker into chromatic ore. That taps for enough mana. See, got it. I successfully.
Yeah, this is a powerful line play. So you just. Yeah, I think this is actually. This takes us from Decay being I'm basically dead to I basically can't lose anymore.
Nice
if they just
nice board, idiot. Yeah.
For that Cruel Celebrant, for the Grafted walking around, make sure that you leave I presume the Noble Hierarch for last, and then when you're in response to equipping, I'm trying to see if you can use Tragic Slip to kill the last creature somehow.
Yes, he can, because Tragic Slip is going to have Morbid, so it's going to be -13.
That is true. It's going to be even more. You're correct.
Because it's going to have killed all of these other creatures.
Yeah, absolutely. So and then you can just leave the land at hand because honestly
for
doesn't matter.
Record, if you try to move an equipment and the target dies, the equipment will never move to begin with. So the creature that, in case of the Grafted War Gear, the creature that it's coming from will leave because the target is gone.
Yeah, now we just have War in hand. We're gonna get upheaval if we want to be playing with that for some reason. Which we possibly could, depending on what we get with the War. We have Time Twister when we have infinite mana. I could see, at this point, I could consider going War for, I was thinking Map originally was an option, or, Academy, Paradox.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
the problem with Map, at least, is that, yeah, sure, you can get to Learn Academy and you have, the 2 on for it, but you just have 1 artifact.
Does
in that regard...
Does TidehollowCat play any 3 power haste creatures in their deck? Because you know.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying Tidehoullow's out of this game yet. They're not.
Yeah, if they have a 3 power haste creature, this game could end to top deck Anchor Crasher, slap a Wargear on it.
The only arguable card that I can think of there is Najila, I think. You might play Najila in this type of deck. I don't think they would. But that's the one card I can think of off the top of my head.
Well,
that doesn't require you to like sacrifice a creature at least, like the butcher, the Mardu butcher, whatever it's called. That one can sacrifice a creature to gain haste.
Right.
Butcher of the Hordes.
Butcher of the Hordes, that's the one.
I mean, Butcher of the Horde
But, like-
always is play, right? Like, that card's nuts.
Yeah, I think it's like if you want to run like a flop that does something, it's that. It's Falcon for Aristocrat, and that's like it off the top of my head. Maybe like Hero of Bladehold, because that one just generates a board and just uses your tokens in another way.
Right.
This deck just goes white so well, anyways.
Oh, so there is another 4 actually. They are playing Butcher of the Horde. They're also playing Falkenrath Aristocrat.
Yes, that one I did forget. Ironically, I did mention it literally afterwards.
Yeah, so they are they can if they draw a Falkenrath Aristocrat, the game just ends on the spot.
Yeah. So there's definitely ways out, but like, oh, this is curious. We actually see them leave their opponent with a spirit on board that they really didn't need to.
Oh yeah, did they not realize the whole?
That is awkward. What isn't awkward is that Gilded Lotus though.
Well, Gilded Lotus is decent, but
It's definitely a great way to just generate some more mana, depending on like what you go for with the.
yeah. I'm not wrong.
Like I think right now I actually kind of like just getting Paradox. I will admit I haven't played that deck before, so I'm not like the intuition on like what lines should be done at what time. Not really my forte. I'm gonna see the people here. A safe choice, definitely the choice you make when you're like, I just don't want to die to some random ass card. Which actually, gotta be honest, I quite like that choice from Decay. Like, yeah, they probably didn't need to do that, but like, they're gonna win the game out of the way probably. Like, yeah, play the Workshop here, play the Gilded Lotus, maybe even play the for 1 if you want to. Actually, you don't even need that. You have the Chromatic Aura as well. Oh yeah, and you can't use the 1 colors on either. Wait, we're gonna see a Time Twister here instead of the Whir. That's actually I can see the Whir first here. I think you get something at least before perhaps.
Can you get?
Also, I'm actually thinking like maybe it's just better to just not cast anything here. Just end of turn Whir and then Time Twister next turn.
Could
just
you?
leave your opponent with a bunch of lands.
Yeah, that was my question.
They
If
walk
you
you?
can, we're
Like if you use upheaval here, like that's because you want to have your opponent just not be doing anything preferably, and the best way is just not casting Time Twister.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's always sexy to consider the Time Twister into a people line. It is also worth mentioning that ADA also has only 5 minutes on the clock, so I'm gonna remind them that they can start.
Okay, so this capsize is actually a really, really big deal. Besides just being able to just continually loop your opponent into not being able to keep lands in play. With work getting Paradoxical Academy, Paradoxical Engine, sorry, not the name of the deck, the actual card. That does allow you to gain an infinite loop here alongside it. If you do that. Because then casting Capsize on like I presume, actually maybe not with the permanents in play, you might need something cheaper than a Gilded Lotus. I think. Yeah, I think Gilded Lotus is just as happy too expensive. But if you have something like decently cheap, you could keep capsizing that card, then generating the 8 mana with the Gilded Lotus, Chromatic Aura, and maybe some other artifacts you draw. And then go infinite that way easily. And then once you have infinite mana, you can use the Chromatic Aura, possibly to draw a card. Or I believe it's draw a card for each color permanent, so you might need a color permanent. I'm not sure how many of those they play. We have a time twist at the worth at least. Like you were gonna stop them until you had a win for sure.
Yeah, I mean, with the weird, you can probably also find, I don't know, some sort of top shenanigans, right? That
Yeah.
gets you.
So we do see them start a new game due to time being a bit short.
Yeah, it was super short on time.
I really like this hand from Decay. Just a quick old win for Mana Crypt, and I don't think you care too much about the Mind Slaver. We did see the Mind Slaver just really do a lot of damage last game. Like, but I think the power of just going turn 1 land, maybe even Windfall on turn 1, depending on like how spicy you feel. I do believe though that depends on like exactly what TidehollowCat does. If they feel like going turn 1 Manador, Mox, whatever they are, in a punch spread, I presume they're on like some sort of Mox heavy punch spread, maybe some DT. Would make sense. Always hard to figure out when you're playing like a 4-color, not like very specifically combo based deck, what points you use. Maybe like you use some sort of creature tutor like green Sunseen. If I don't think you would in that type of deck, you play too few creatures that are green you want to get. As such. So I'm curious as to what exactly that punch spread is. I just imagine it's gonna be like either Mox DT or Mox Mind Twist or something. Maybe a Mana Crypt instead. Though I doubt that because the mana's bad enough as it is in a 4-color deck. So I'm curious what points they're on in the list. We do see a turn 1 Black Tapetless here from and a pass. See a null land from Decay. I'm curious to see if they go for the instant here, or if they just wait a bit. I think the hand is so boring, and I just love to see the instant. Just try and get some good cards. You draw 6 new cards. You disrupt your opponent's possible great hand, depending on what they have in hand, and just say, deal with it, get a new hand. Oh wow! Now we're cooking with gas here. We have 2 great lands, both an artifact land that you can ting if you want, as well as Minimo. We got some artifact ram. We got Basalt Monolith and Mindstone, and then we got Tinger, which we just saw like do a ton of damage last game. Oh, we see Tidehollow coming down here. Take away probably, I imagine, the Tinker here, or me. No, probably don't take that. Probably just the Tinker here. That's the card can really just blow you over. Yeah, triple marks. Stoneforge is definitely an option when Stoneforge is pointed. I think you can just. I don't know if you even want to be playing like Twist. It just does not feel like the kind of card you want to be playing that list. Yeah, just get a board state here makes sense. Stop your opponent from having the powerful Tinker play. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I just like getting like some mana ramp down on board here. Just for clarity, am I clear? Because I'm hearing a lot of silence. Being the 1 mana I'm here, or if it's just muted on my end and I can't hear anyone for some reason.
No, I'm still there. I'm just.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Yeah, we do see the Mind Stone into Basalt Monolith. Just set up all the mana so when you Mind Twist, you can just do whatever you want. Yawgmoth, not that exciting here. Mostly just a 2/4 that can cycle some creatures if you need to. Maybe make a bit of card advantage off a Seer. Like, even the -1/-1 card is a must place. Which means you have a card, you need to find a creature to put that on. That has to be one of your own. Which makes it kind of awkward. Let's see another artifact land. I imagine we just see artifact land Mind Twist here. Sorry, Time Twist here. You're not under too much pressure right now. The only thing annoying is the Tinker onto the Tidehollow. I'm interested in that we do not see the artifact land here. Like, you might be high running a bit here, I feel like. We do see Reapers, though. We see the Song of Creation and Pact of Negation, some lands. And what is that new artifact called? The one from the Commander set? From the new Commander set.
Rip and Saw are really a testament to how dog shit of a card you're willing to put in your deck, assuming it finds Academy. It's like...
Exactly, like... like, it's not quite... Like, the fact that it's a 4-mana card that puts it into play, like...
Yeah, it's untapped too.
Like, it's not Diabolic Tutor, which is notable. Like, Diabolic Tutor is 4-mana and get any... Because this notably is also a ramp spell at the same time, while getting you that one land that just is incredibly good for your deck.
Yeah, and it puts into play untapped. Also,
notably untapped.
Which is pretty crucial, yeah.
And I think it's Mana Geode something that new card is called?
I have never seen this card before.
No, Mana Geode is another card. It's it's one for Commander.
It copies all activated abilities from lands.
Yes, it copies all activated abilities from lands, including the insane amount of mana you can make of a what's it called? A Tolarian Academy. I'm just gonna find it in a second here. It is called Manascape Refractor. Quite a name. Copying all your lands, even all your opponent's lands, I believe.
I had never seen this card before. I think I actually that's what
I think it's a quite important card for one of the couple new cards that the Academy gets. I feel like it's funny, like Academy just keeps getting more cards. Like,
yeah, it seems awesome. Like if I'm an Academy player, it would probably I'm be excited that
like it's in a way it's kind of like the minimum of of artifacts. Like it's just that good with Tolarian Academy.
And
we just
you're
willing to play.
I also think
you're willing to play Reaven to get Academy. So why not play a card that just is that good?
The other thing that I like is this is kind of a cool design where it's kind of as broken as the format that you put it into, right? Like in this format you get to put it all in Academy. In Standard this card is fine. It's gonna get to copy I don't know, Castle Locktwain or whatever, right? And it's nobody is going to explode because this card exists. So I think this is actually kind of a cool design in terms of how balanced it is. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do like the fact that we just see a white board stake come down here, especially with a Saga let in play, and the Cruel Celebrant. So that's just a way of going. You have to win now. They probably can with Song of Creation and such, maybe.
Yeah, I mean Song of Creation is a magic card.
So, that's also a magic card right there. We have on hands.
Oh, they found a Tezzy. I guess Tezzy can't just put a Paradox Engine into play.
Yeah, you can't actually Paradox Engine. That would be insane to get right here. What can you get? Once again, this is one of the cases where, I think even more so than Storm. Storm is a sort of deck where, once you seen it played or played against it, I played with it or against it. It's pretty easy to know the lines. So you can watch it and see someone play it, and you're like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna do this, and then they do that. Or maybe they have they have a lot of experience with it. They know a couple of more intricate line of plays, or know what cards they should be choosing with their cantrips and such. But with Paradox Academy, if you don't know the list, it's what do I get with this tutor? It's much more flexible. Sometimes with your land tutors, you 99% of the time, if you don't have Tolarian Academy, you get Tolarian Academy. But with your artifact tutors, it's a lot more flexible. Do I get Defense Grid against this control deck, or do I just go for something that generates more mana? Do I need card advantage? That's often the case, let's be honest, because the deck plays mostly mana ramp. So depends quite a lot on what we see here coming out of the Song Creation off the top of the library.
Yeah.
We might.
There's some amount of playing off the top that needs to be done here.
This is funny because I quite like the idea of just at some point, depending if you draw something that's cheap and bad, just casting it and Pact of Negation in it to just draw some cards. I do like just using it as a weird divination here because I think if Tidehollow untaps here, I imagine you might just be dead. due to the cruel self-attack.
Do they just have lethal 2, 4, 6, 7?
Oh, that's a frantic surge. That's just an infinite amount of mana there. Yeah, I think this is just gonna end up being a win from DK. It's just how they find the win and how they go about it.
Yeah, so
like you should probably activate the Minimo here, untap your Solarian Academy first, and activate it.
Yeah, DK. Sorry, Tidehollow is lethal on board. I just it was.
Oh yeah,
so
that's not even a question.
If they untap you,
you can play so many cards and make so many tokens with the just kill it all with what's he called, Jogmuth?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Mine's 4 for 8, but actually pretty decent.
Attack for 7 and then activate Death Rate Shaman. Like they don't need to get fancy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you still. I presume you still play the books. Like that's definitely not a bad option. I really dislike the fact from DK here that they didn't activate Minimo. The reason you play that card is so you can untap Solarian Academy, because that makes it kind of a second Solarian Academy.
Do you?
Yeah, you probably had the win there. I don't think it was guaranteed. I wouldn't concede it if it was Tidehollow.
Yeah. No, I don't think.
Like you had lethal on board. Like there was no guaranteed lethal as far as. Like no infinite I can think of. I might have missed something. I guess they did have 2 tutors. That might be some infinite I can't think of off the top of my head. Probably missed something. But like yeah, they can get Paradox Academy. They can tutor up something else with.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear,
the likelihood of them having a win is like 99%. And that might have been something in chat that I didn't see.
You could -4 Tezzeret for either Flux Reservoir if you wanted. Let's see if anyone is doing the thing where they play Magic.
Yes, when they're not done with the first round already. I think you should be able to check on a quite quickly and see who's done.
So, you know.
Yeah, it seems like only 3 matches besides this one is done. So
yeah, so Necro and Seabal Menace are still playing. Zannty and the TheAFKNacho appear to be still playing. So.
Yeah. I think either would be fine. Me, honestly, we technically don't. Some of them haven't put their onto.
No, Necro is that appeared to be done. Okay, yeah. Let's watch some Zannty. Let's watch some blue red and then some.
Game. You said Zannty FK, correct? Just to be clear.
It's Zannty and TheAFKNacho.
Yes. Zannty, I have a pretty good idea of what they might be on. They have their blue-red temple list that they've been playing a lot.
Yeah, the other person appears to also be on Aristocrats, honestly. I see a cat on the field. That's usually what that entails.
Ooh, Cauldron Familiar. Yeah, this looks like another like. Actually, I'm starting to think that this might be something akin to what a certain someone called Lucas has been piloting recently. Which is a sort of like a hybrid of Mardu Aristocrats and Soul Sisters to deliver
the Soulcrats deck.
Random life games effects you have in the Mardu Aristocrats.
Zannty, shut your hand.
Wait, I'm just now realizing in the 100-card singleton format, we had the natural cat oven. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in for a second. Natural cat oven. Underground singleton. There was no tutor. No nothing. As far as I can see. Just had it. Easy.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How you doing?
Yo, man.
Hey, no man. What's up?
Hey.
We missed you for round 1. What's going on?
Yeah, no, sorry. I had to catch the rest of the Pirates of the Caribbean marathon on TNT, you know?
Incredibly important.
Yeah, no, I was sick kid, bud. But yeah, so yeah, life.
No, I get you.
Yeah, but I was gonna say I was actually looking at a graveyard as well, and I was looking for like a Mausoleum Secrets or something like that.
Yeah, I was as well. That was like the one card I could think of. Maybe if they were insane and figured.
I honestly think you can run. I think you can run Demonic Consultation.
Yeah, Demonic Consultation. Yeah, I think that might be fine. I also love it over the Triple Mox option. But I could see a Mox DT option being argued for as well. Because you haven't really
not Demonic Tutor, Demonic Consultation. I'm saying Ride the
No,
Lake.
I'm saying I'd argue you could play both as well.
Yeah, you could, yeah. But
there's some cards in the in a way, it's not like a kind of Storm, Paradox Academy, Splinter Twin kind of combo deck, but it's very much I need a bunch of doors, I need a sack outlet, and I need something that triggers off sacking.
Well, what's going on?
If you don't have that.
Red Mage, you think had a question for me? What's up, bud?
Yeah, no. I just wanted to let you know that your audio is
your audio is a bit scratchy.
Yeah, it's a bit scratchy, so I was trying to figure out. I don't know if your mic is scratching on something or something like that. I was trying to. It's kind of.
Is it any better? Is it any better?
I think it's a little better now. Yeah. The scratching is kind of gone.
It's a bit low quality, but it's not scratchy at least, which is the important part.
All right. Well, we'll try this. I mean, we'll see. If it doesn't work, let me know. I can get off. DC is one of the ones I kind of like in some of these lists because it's a deck that really needs three things going, right? It needs fodder, it needs sack outlet, it needs payoff. So if you get to a point where you just need one of those things,
the one upside is that you can often just have a bunch and still be fine and beat down with that. We beat Crane, for example, in the graveyard. Great card just have until green to stop beating with.
Well, that's kind of, I think, the differentiation between the really good Kratz list and the maybe more medium Kratz list is that I think the really good ones just go more with Legion War Bosses, Krinkos, Goblin Rabble Masters, Handler Militias, stuff like that.
Yeah. So what she called the red one, the two as well, that makes the Monkey Totem
Yeah,
it's good, but still it's. I think you want to be beating down and then just happen to have the oops. I'll just
grind you out. Yeah,
I'll just randomly grind you out randomly.
That said, the more
just stack 5 creatures, you take 5 damage from my blood.
Yeah, the more cat style versions though tend to be a little harder actually for blue red or Jeskai, just because they have so many really sticky cards. They're not as high impact cards, but they're just they're hard to remove 1-for-1. I mean, you see cards like Fire Ice, Burst Lightning. I mean, Fire Ice is generally going to be a 2-for-1 card, but
absolutely.
Sometimes it is not in this matchup,
Yeah, that's one thing that the Aristocrats take often sacrifices. Sacrifices a lot of single card power in the form of hoping to have just this stew that just is delicious. But if you're using bad ingredients, too bad ingredients, you can't make a great stew either way. So that's kind of the thing. Act how much do I have to try and just make the stew work together, and how much do I have to just focus on great ingredients, right?
Yeah. And I think in general, it ends up balancing out to be higher on the ingredient end because you really. You need to worry about other fast linear in the format, and cards like Lazatop, Reefer are really they're fine cards against red removal, which it templates well against, right? Or Cauldron Familiar templates pretty well against red removal, more so than a card like Krenko or Legion War Boss doesn't template well against red removal, especially if it's early red removal against it. It doesn't last for a couple turns. But cards like the ones you see on the board right now are just kind of a pain in the ass. It's all right, it killed a 1/2. I had to deal with a 1/1 off of it, and basically it took 2 cards to do that. They're already on the board. I
just kind of feel that Aristocrats is one of those decks that just seems so much better in concept than it is in execution.
Well, again, you're basically a kind of a density-based combo deck, right?
Just make tokens. You can't kill my creatures. I can trade all your creatures who are being aggressive. I don't see the problem here. And it just turns out it just doesn't do anything that insanely well, except just having a lot of sticky minions.
Well, I mean, again, it's kind of like a density-based combo deck, right? I mean, you could look at it in a similar way to at least in how you build it. It's not a density-based combo deck; it's an attrition-y aggressive deck.
It's definitely density-based. It's just not a combo deck.
Yeah, but it's similar in a way to you could look at Hoof or in Hoof has changed, kind of become more mid-rangey, but Hoof or Academy have similar deck building principles wherein their equation is different. They have different things in those boxes, but you got mana, payoff, and utility or disruption. Whereas Kratz is fodder, sack outlet, payoff. As opposed to just card quality, Young Pyromancers, odd to say, but Spell Snare, just card quality again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even a card like Sailor there, surprisingly good crowd as a, like honestly. It's a card that's been taking standard and I think even like almost like historic and like pioneer a bit as well. Been seeing played in Spirits list, I think. I'm not sure if it's seen played in Modern, to be honest. It might have, I imagine.
One thing I'm curious on is why maybe it had to be this way. Maybe I missed a play. Why is the oven tapped on their OP's turn? Why didn't they do the oven interaction on their OP's turn?
F6
I'm not sure
value, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it's not sorcery speed, right? Oven, you can just do it EOT if they don't do anything.
Yeah,
Part
exactly.
of the reason that it's so frustrating on Arena, to be honest.
Yeah. I just really do not like this inclusion of Cauldron. I can kinda see the Witch's Oven. I don't like the Witch's Oven, but I can respect it. But like the Cauldron Familiar just seems like the, oh my god, if I get the Oven and the Familiar, I'll just have all the value.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna play a 1-mana 1/1 that drains my opponent for life.
I don't know. I mean, it's not unprecedented. Like Death Cultist was a card that has been played in Flash decks, like as is one of two payoffs to kill with the Hulk combo, like before Oracle was a thing, you know.
Well, yeah, but at least at that point you're playing an infinite combo. That's the way you're playing it.
Yeah, you're
looping a nice primary little engine that is fine.
You're looping it for sure.
Yeah, like that's not a card you play because you're like, God, this is actually a fine card on its own. It's a card you play because I need it because the rest of the thing I'm doing is incredibly powerful, and this is just a bad card. The rest is powerful.
The big reason I asked about the oven tap is that I think you can just get a free block here, right? You can
just like you block and then you just sack in response. Like that's what you see. Well, like
yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I was like, I don't play a lot of standard, but yeah,
that's what makes it powerful is that you can just like, I have this cat that's going to block you in all eternity, and it's just going to drain you for each turn. And have any triggers off it as well. You're just gonna not like it.
This is game right here. We know that
Zannty on board.
Yep.
I was even wonder what he flipped it.
The Mask of Immolation.
Ah, yes. This the what is it called?
It's it's kind of a bad variant of Mortar Pod.
Yeah, Mortar Pod. Thank you. Is it much worth actually?
It's arguably
even
more,
better in some areas. It's better on its own, actually. If you don't mind the red mana.
Yeah. I mean, like
you're right. It's not a great draw on your creature. Like if you don't get that additional 1 toughness.
No, you don't get the 1 toughness. I mean,
which is by no means nothing. Like 1 toughness can at times just be like the difference between trading and just trading up.
They're frankly pretty similar cards. I mean, if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. I mean, like my guess would be probably a pod in that deck. You know?
If I'm playing one, I'm playing the other. Outside of if I'm not playing red, I guess.
Yeah. So we have any more games this round, or we?
No, that was the round.
Yeah, tough one there. It's Kratz is a pretty tough matchup for blue red.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like especially like red removal in general. I actually know the red rule is pretty good. Blue tempo, it's like you don't want to be playing like those kind of cards. You just want to, in particular, I think the best answer is just playing green, kinda. Just
or good white creatures. White creatures are pretty good against them.
Too, yeah. They
just have good critters like Jit kind of screws them up, and then like
even a card like Thalia is really awkward to tag into.
Yeah,
and if you have any of your creatures that exile, what is the Bushido called? Like I remember the Fox of something. Fox of 9 Winds or something. I think it's called.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it comes down to like how high quality permanence do you have in your deck, and if you have really high quality permanence in your deck, in general, you can do pretty good against Kratz. Outside of like they do have infinite blocks, but that's why I like the Jeskai matchup versus Kratz, which is like historically it's been like kind of like it's a matchup for Jeskai actually. You really just want to get down basis of like threats first to like actually start clocking them, and then like use your removal, because your removal generally tends to trade at disadvantage or just for tempo, not at actual card advantage. So like you have to kind of use it more as a tempo line to actually build their creatures up, and then like continue to attack with like your Manus Rider or like whatever you got, you know.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So are we going 3 or 4 rounds today? I obviously
we're going the full 4. We actually have like the tournament prescription would be actually to do 5. We have 17 players today, so.
Oh, okay. All right. So are we doing 5 rounds or just 4?
No,
No,
we're just doing 4.
4.
I'm not.
In particular, because this is fine. We have someone dropping it.
So the thing that I have is first, some people haven't confirmed the results. But that's fine. The other thing that the thing that's weird is that TheAFKNacho won that match and then registered himself as dropping and then tried to verify that is correct.
Yeah.
Before I pair next round.
I can only presume that's the case if like something came up IRL, like shit happening, like
yeah, life happens. Yeah.
Someone would know that right now, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe they heard me talking about, you know, the Captain Jack Sparrow special on TNT. You know,
they were like, shit.
Yeah, I had to run. They were like, oh no, my Johnny Depp cravings need to be fulfilled. You know.
They hunger for that man who doesn't.
Oh.
Can't blame him.
Yep, nope. Can't be blamed for that. It's probably one of the best excuses I've ever heard. Oh.
Yeah, I think we're just getting the pairings this round.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in contact with the TheAFKNacho to figure out this whole drop thing. But if they don't get back to me, in the
I think if they are not to be contacted, then we have to presume they have dropped, and if not, that's their fault.
Yeah, I'm just giving it a minute to see if.
I'm gonna go on a quick mute session, gentlemen. I get some.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah. All right, I think I've given it.
Yeah, like Wolfgang just point out, they are in fact not online currently. So I think personally it's a safe choice to assume that one of 2 things happened. 1, they got hacked, or 2, they actually signed out.
Yeah. For also some users, only one person has confirmed the result, as far as I can tell. So I'm hoping that everything is correct. But
for clarity, by the way, we want you to actually submit the result, both of you, on the Hub site. So kindly go do that. I know we have the match reporting. That is actually a bit of an old system from when we were using a manual.
Yeah, I might just ask them out to remove it. I think at that point the channel is redundant.
Yeah, that's true, but it might also just be relevant for other things as a possibility. Like if people use other tournaments.
All right, what do you want to watch? Let's put some magic.
Cool tab here. I'm gonna say I am looking at the.
I'm gonna make an executive decision. We're watching Reiyu versus Bailite.
Okay. I was thinking either Reiyu, Bailite.
Yeah.
I was thinking those 2 were the ones I was really looking at. To be fair, because we just saw Decay of the winners and Brahms, Wolfgang. As much as I don't want to read, I think against a lot of some of the Brahms stakes it might be fun to see it against. For some of them it might just be a bit of a small.
I've been on a building kick recently just to like play a bunch of mid-range decks that just ranch the hell out of D&T and like red deck wins. Recently.
I'm excited because Bailite has done something revolutionary. They apparently have made a new deck on.
Oh, cool!
Find out what it is.
I'm assuming Dark's watching Dark versus v Bailite. Is that what it is?
Maybe this time instead.
And also, boy, is it. There's Reiyu also has some shenanigans. We're gonna have.
Oh yeah, I expect Reiyu. As the name I can be pronounced in infinite ways and still be wrong.
Are they on their black-green, like, stomping deck?
That was my first line of thought, like some sort of black-green.
I mean, they are on black-green, but the thing is, they're playing... they made a point this week to cram every non-Planeswalker deck Garruk in their deck that they could.
Oh, okay. They're a big Garruk fan.
I heard the Garrett tribal being mentioned. I was like,
Yeah, they're playing
it's a
Garrett.
joke, right? It wasn't a joke. I was wrong.
I mean, you can do it. Garricks are pretty good. Most of them make 3/3s.
Yeah, a lot of them
We
make
see, I believe
make
that's
some
Bailite
various
on
types
top.
of idiots. Yeah.
Up till now, it looks like it's the same list. This looks like a typical Bailite list. The only thing that's making it possibly not the usual Abzan, that's what he's on, is the fact that we have not seen a single one.
Yeah, the only card that, like, I mean, it's not technically out of the usual, but, like, if you were to tell me there's a card that Bailite doesn't typically play in their deck in that hand, it would be Tarmogoyf. Which is probably...
I've seen enough Tarmogoyf. It's a great blocker.
Yeah, no, I mean, Tarmogoyf is generally...
That's why we play Tarmogoyf, right? In those, not because it just kills your opponent.
Yeah, no, I've been playing a lot of Goyfs recently. I've actually been playing some Abzan, some well, I don't play it in Kiki, but I've been playing Kiki Pod, Abzan, and Rock.
That's definitely one of those things that we bother Bailite a bit about. Like, Bailite's a fine player. Bailite's definitely a solid player.
No, I just joke with them because like all the cards are like typical Bailite cards in the hand, and like if you were to tell me that there was a card that they have not played in Abzan recently, I would guess it was Tarmogoyf out of them, because like because all of them are like value cards, and like
I'm gonna go all the way.
Yeah, Goyf's not a value card. Like it kind of is, but it's really not just a big dumb beat stick. You know, it's good at that though, but I'm pretty sure they play all these cards normally. Like,
I've seen them.
Maybe
all
Grapple with the past is new. What are they playing? Are they playing some sort of Dredge thing?
The question is this a new deck that we heard the whispers of, or was Bailite too scared to bring that to a highly competitive tournament?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, like some folks just enjoy playing Magic the way they enjoy playing Magic, and it's I've
played so many weeks in a row, like, and I still love it. Like, I'm not gonna blame anyone for playing the same deck. I was just curious because we heard the rumors. Like,
Bailite's played Sultai before. I played Bailite on Sultai before I played Bailite.
Oh god, I'm so sorry.
Kratz before.
Interesting. I have literally seen Bailite on anything else.
I think they were playing Mardu Kratz one time against me, and then they were playing Sultai one time. Yeah, it wasn't like Sultai with like counter spells. It was like big Sultai. It was like rock splash blue. But yeah.
Yeah, but we are seeing we're seeing what appears to be from Reiyu here. Just a black green sort of mid-range beat down deck.
Yeah, what I call their deck. I think it's actually a deck that like
Gary or something like that. I think it's called before.
Yeah, well, I think what I called their deck is Golgari Medium. It's actually a deck that I believe, like a long time ago, I think I actually...
I think it's Finale Devastation. That card probably wasn't in the concept that like I threw away, but like that concept was like probably like 4 or 5 sets ago.
Sorry for the audio exploding. I think we should be back fixed now. The guys in this call didn't notice anyway, but my headphones ran out of juice. Also, for whatever reason, I'm hearing players, which I shouldn't be.
Fraternity is the black one. Let me see in hand.
I'm gonna fix it.
That's the card I'm like looking at. I'm like,
there you go.
Are you really that scared of some sort of backward deck? Finale of Fraternity, the middle card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The thing is, it is card advantage. You know,
it is card advantage. You're right.
I would tend to.
We've been playing that card in Gladiator for what it's worth.
You're paying so much mana and there are better options at that point for getting
I would tend to run Malicious Affliction over it. I think it's just easier to cast, and it does.
Yeah, I love Malicious Affliction.
Yeah, it's a good card. It's a good card. It's good black. Like,
it used to be like really hype when it came out, and it's gone down in popularity rather since. It's still a great card.
In this tournament, like I would tend to say black removals at a premium. It's pretty good actually in general.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward as try non-black because we do definitely see people who like playing the Blahguy, Bailite.
Yeah.
But usually those people still play some amount of non-black creatures, so it's not like it's ever like really truly dead.
Yeah,
it might be a bit worse at times.
No, but he's rather the
non-black deck where it's just like, oh my.
Yeah.
I just think in general, like
Blahguy was saying earlier that he was going to play a non-Rakdos aggro deck, speaking of people making new deck, but you were supposed to lend him some cards. You were supposed to lend him some cards for it, Loven.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because like I told him earlier, I'm like, hey, I'm around, I can trade now, and then like I had, kid sick come up.
Yeah,
so
no,
like,
that's fair.
sorry, bud. Sorry, bud. Yeah.
Just calling you out on stream.
They call me out, but being fair to Blahguy, they were in the middle of a game when I offered the trade up this morning. They're in the middle of a game. I was like, all right, bud. Later, I guess.
Back here for a second, not to be rude or anything. We are just seeing a bit of a grind fest here from Bailite. Getting all those lands from the causer. Trying to draw some cards with the
I think if this game ends favorably for Dark, it's going to end favorably based on actually this finale of Eternity.
Yeah, it's like ruining a cold block, and then just swinging in with your big old points.
Yeah, for 12 damage or whatever it is. That's how I think.
This recall here is kind of awkward because it doesn't kill the Indestructible God. It doesn't kill the black creature. It kills a bit of paradox, which is nice.
It's just a blocker,
It's a blocker, absolutely. I'm with you totally.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Can Rose pump himself?
Killing birds is actually Shriekmaw can target your own things. Yes.
Oh no, I meant can Ronus target himself?
Don't recall. I don't believe it can. But
Super trample onto that turn, so he cannot. I don't think it's nearly as important when you have a 5 short. I'm done with you there. But I think just going swinging with the team here, just go like.
I could actually see. I actually kind of like getting rid of the finale here and going for the Rex Age and blowing up the Skull Clamp here.
I'm curious, do you want to be attacking here first, seeing how your opponent blocks, having the option of doing Tremble here? I don't think it's that. You're not putting lethal.
Yeah, I think I don't want to give them 2 more cards. Like, I've seen what their hand can do. I want to blow up the Clamp personally.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, is there a bit of option at 4 exactly? Because
I mean, they could go for like a Vengevine or a Questing Beast.
What's it gonna be?
I don't know that doesn't have any better things, but because that Goyf's what, a 5/6?
That is not what I was thinking we were going to see.
Nope, that's
a very interesting choice to get, especially because you have the Ronus that allows you to use a mana lead.
Yeah, I don't like.
I'm curious, like, how big is that? How big is that Tarmogoyf?
It's a 5/6. You can attack into it. Your Ronus is indestructible. I don't know. I think I like to blow up the Clamp. Just blow up the Clamp.
I love attacking here because that gives them a choice. If you attack with a Ronus, they can just block it. If you attack with the trade the small and draw 2.
Yeah.
And you only get to kill. You actually don't get to kill 2 of their creatures, which is notable. But it's still a bit awkward. Luckily, you don't realize that Bailite has a hand. It's just lands.
Well, you actually kind of do know. You do know. You can pretty much estimate that, right? Because we know they got the top off of the Courser, and they didn't do anything with that last card.
Yeah, notably, the last card they played was the Streak Mode. Kill birds. Likely not the most important time to play that Streak.
Yep. So I think I put them on lands here. I think I put them on lands.
That's an interesting choice to play to equip to the Tarmogoyf. That's just going like. Yeah,
I think it's actually a great choice because it makes it into a 6/5, which means it trades favorably with.
Why would you do that? Do you really just? I mean, now you just corrupt the runs here.
No, what he wants to do is he wants to get access to the Recruiter of the Guard and then try to find Palace Jailer. Palace Jailer is going to make it very hard.
There's no reason not to attack with the Streak Mode instead. I suppose you deal less damage.
I think they want to block with it. I think they want to re-equip it with the Clamp and then block with it because I think they want to have something to just.
You not done that the other way around then, just attack with that one.
Well, the Shriekmaw can't be blocked. The Shriekmaw can't be blocked.
It can get blocked by the Riches. That one's black.
I just think they would let it through at that point. They'd be like, all right, let it through, and then I'll.
Yeah, you're right.
They're pretty low, but they're not like so low they can't take a 4-ball.
I'm curious what we're gonna see get off this Recruiter here. What they want to be killing.
I think it's actually a pretty clear take. I think you just cast out your Recruiter to find Palace Jailer. Can't cast it this turn.
Yeah, I was say you can't cast it. You can't cast the Winding Wave then to try and get some.
Yeah, I mean it's possible they're worried about trample damage. It's possible you're worried about trample damage. You want to get a way to kill the Ronus right away.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm trying to think of a creature that costs 3 or less that does that. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, they're not dead to the hit, right? That's the thing.
Don't
like,
think
they're
that's
not
a
dead to
shuffle
this
way
hit,
that
even
goes
if
with
If
it.
you get the Palace Jailer, you have to take out the runs because that trample damage is going to ruin your
Yeah, I think getting Palace Jailer and just dealing with
all sensation.
the Ronus is probably the best way to go. Set it up for the next turn.
There is that.
Yeah, because like the Night Pack Ambusher definitely can make some
I think
2/2s,
I'd
which
rather
is a lot.
find
Not that
something a
bad
bit more
though.
direct.
The Regisaur is definitely bigger on its own.
The Regisaur is
Still
eminently
just
chumpable. It's eminently chumpable, and actually, you could even just trade off your board for it right here if you really want to.
Exactly, like it's not the end of the world. I'm not sure if you want to be, especially if you're on a team. We see an Ewid. What do we want to see on an Ewid for? Tainted Pact? The damage skull? Trophy? Maybe a fail push? Fail push I could see. It's just gotta keep up. It's winding away an instant. This is sorcery, isn't it?
It is.
He pass here. Why doesn't he at least?
I think he actually wants the Unearth. I think that's a card that they want.
That's fine. Like, I respect that. Like, but why? And yeah, you can't cast the Eternal with tapped. Like, wow, play a Skull Clan. I activate that.
I don't know.
And like, if you knew you were going to get like play the deck as well as Bailite does.
I mean, it's very possible they did some like crazy 40 chess.
It would be relevant, like at this point. I just feel.
Well, Dark skipped their attack step, so I mean, there's that. Maybe they want to get value. Maybe they want to get value. I don't know.
I don't know. And why playing? Oh, are they activating? Oh, it's castle. How does he do it? No, it's Deadlands.
I mean, they want to kill one of their things.
That makes it even weird. They didn't tag like kill a creature.
Well, they know that they got an Eternal Witness, so killing that's not per se worth. Doesn't have that much value, right?
I don't know, but I just figured like if you kill the one creature, then at least you get it for 4. You have to jump both. And then at that point, you kind of force them to.
Well, I think the sequence we'll end up seeing here is going to end up being Eternal Witness back the Shriekmaw and Unearth the Tarmogoyf as a decent blocker.
Yeah, probably just evoke the Shriekmaw as well. At that point. Yeah, multiple on top, not that interesting. Makes sense. Fetch, see if you find a land on top as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably don't want to draw Mox, but I mean, you got a Skull Clamp, so like as far as
you'll take it if you draw it. You can recruit it away. Yeah. Reclamation. That's actually pretty great here.
Yep, not a bad one. Although it's not like epic level good. There's a lot of spells in the.
Yeah, it's like those spells, but like
mostly lands
right
now.
Your Ewid dies like they're used to have die with a Skull Clamp and a bunch of big boys on the other side of the board. Like,
sure, I think the real value of Sev's Rec at this point is probably going to be double shuffle effects with an onboard top look.
Yeah, I definitely like. I'm with you there. I like one Catacomb with a hard cast and or flashback at one point.
Yeah. I do think that Dark probably should have been pressing the matter with their mana on the Ronus, but
yeah, like because they have so much things to do with the mana, like getting back land. It's great.
Yeah, and it's also kind of coupled with by the fact that like they're not using the mana for anything else, in my opinion, that for anything that's that great, and there's no clamp hooked up to anything right now, so any blocks are going to be an advantage. So
I just don't like the way that Reiyu is playing this. I'll be honest with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think you
could play a very aggressive deck, and you're just sitting back here like. Yes, you might get out value, but you're going to get out value either way. At least try and put them in a low life level.
Yeah, you can't wait against Clamp, Sevrek,
You're not out valuing them. What do you have to draw?
You're the aggro, right? You're the aggro, and there's an Emrakul, which
What's this here? Like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. 2 to get it. If you haven't played land, it's only 1, because you get to Skull Clan. And 1, 2, 3. I only count 3 card types in Graveyard. That's actually
I don't know. I feel like it's very likely they can cast Emrakul right now, but I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't think this turn actually.
So let's see. You got instant land
creature.
Sorcery creature.
No sorcery. No sorcery. It's no sorcery. Gravel is an instant. Tainted Pact is an instant.
Okay.
All trophy push, they're all instants. Unless I'm wrong on grapple, I'd be surprised.
Well, Unearth is a sorcery.
Unearth is a sorcery, but the problem with playing Unearth is then you're spending. Like, yeah, you can cast the Emrakul next turn, and you're probably going to cast the Emrakul next turn. I'd be surprised if you didn't.
Pick up the Fatal Push here.
Makes sense. Get rid of, the Rotting Retisol. Probably just cast the Reclamation here. Get back either land or maybe the Zamagon.
I could see Winding Way here first if you want some of the cards off the top.
Or just even equip the Skull Clam to the E-Wit again, and then Reclamation that back, but even more value if you're greedy.
Well, now they've
Which
got
we
them on.
know play like this.
There actually may have been an all-out attack that was beneficial here. No, there wasn't, but it was close to being. You have 4/4 plus 4 off your Natuko Monastery. You end up losing your Courser and your. I guess your Ewitch, let's say.
We make fun of Bailite for not playing for SD. I think I feel like how Bailite is playing this game specifically. Like they've been attacking sometimes well, not expecting him to at all.
Oh, there's your Garrick.
Yeah.
Swords of Plowshare is a pretty clean answer to the Ronus.
I just see a Garrick here, like, yeah, Garrick's like not that scary when getting outgrinded by Skull Clams and Emrakuls.
The relevant part about Garrick is that it can at least enable blocks on the Shriek Maw. The problem's going to end up being this Emrakul is just going to be...
Did you know that Garrick can kill young creatures with his -3?
Yep.
It can.
Destroy your target creature.
We might just see that.
Sometimes you do that just to draw cards, for sure.
In fact,
yeah, the joke is that if you destroy one of the wolves, you get a loyalty back.
Trying to see if there's a way we set up in a situation where opponents just dead on board. Even depending on what they draw with an Emrakul, I can't see it. Besides the fact that Emrakul just probably kills them if Garrick can't kill it.
Yeah.
So I think I imagine that's going to be the line of play. Just Sam, Emrakul.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. That would be my guess as well. As we're going to see.
That makes it even cheaper now. That's a -5, I believe, at this point. So that's an 8 mana Emrakul. We have 10 mana in play, having played Highlander already, I believe. So that still leaves us 2 mana to Skull Clam Path, Skull Clam Swords, or to Fauna Shaman, or whatever we feel. And then on tap, use the Garrick, kill probably own Wolf, his green Wolf token, so your Shriek Mob becomes that bit better. Maybe just and making sure that there's no chance of killing the Emrakul with the Garrick the following turn.
I don't think there is going to be.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you get rid of the loyalty and Garrick by my
yeah, they may just kill their own thing. See if they can find more options to muck their OP or muck Reiyu.
Yeah, like this game's been over for quite a while. Like there might have been some Reiyu.
I think there was like a couple of attack steps that could have happened on Reiyu. That would have put Bailite around like 10 to 13 life at this point.
Like, I can definitely feel that Reiyu is someone who's used to playing a more style deck. Which is what I've seen now. Like a rock.
Grindy deck.
Yeah, right, grindy kind of deck, yeah.
They're used to playing the control, They want to have insurmountable advantage, and like you're not going to really get insurmountable advantage in this matchup. Like they're going to.
No, like this is the kind of matchup where you just go, hi, hard. I have a 7/6 die.
Yep, just hit you in the face till you fall over.
Yeah, and if they don't fall over, well, you didn't hit them hard enough.
Yep.
Signed by a red deck wins play. Oh.
Yeah, just hit them until they fall over. It's a good strategy. All right, so.
I love the tap the Ancient Tomb to.
Just do some rando damage to you. 13 years a lot. What is that card? The card, makes something bigger and then makes 3/3s?
The only scenario where you don't lose here, I could think of perhaps, is attacking with a wolf and somehow blocking with like a Shriek Maw.
I don't think that Bailite's going to block poorly.
I imagine not.
I mean, like these are all cards that also are like they're just very face up, right? Like so, it's not like there's not a lot of tricks to it.
Playing both cards, you go from like you play the Soul Ring, like your opponent knows that card. Like no reason to pick that.
No, it's where a card like Eliminate actually has some like play to it in regards to combat. Like you're just everything's face up. It's like if I can do it, you're gonna know I can do it, you know, and it's just either gonna be more powerful than what you're able to do, or it's not, you know. But you know, you're gonna generally have pretty good knowledge about how it's gonna work out either way if you want to read the cards and all that. But all right, so a lot of 2-2s and a concession. All right, on to game number 2 in this match. I do think that if Reiyu, you know, gets good early progression against Bailite, they can definitely put him on their butt. Bailite's deck, again, is going to have very long... calling it Abzan mid-range is a misnomer. It's Abzan control. Like, this deck's just an Abzan.
Yeah, it is a control deck. I'm with you there.
Now, this...
Like, it's definitely more mid-range, like, say, an Esper deck is, because it's playing Talongoss and such.
What do you think of Reiyu's hand? Because, like, I'm tempted to keep that, but it's awkward.
I'm tempted. But you're playing you have a tap land in hand.
I know. It's
awkward,
but I think you keep it. Like, you lose the Wasteland, right? I think I'd keep it. I would not play that out turn 1.
I think.
That's a mistake on their part, playing the Crypt down early. I mean, I guess they want to play around hand attack, but... I mean, it could be like they want to play around hand attack. That's reasonable, I guess. But, like, I don't like exposing it to, like, you know, early interaction or, like, Mox plus Colored Source into, like, Abrupt Decay.
This is a matter where, like, Life Total isn't the most important, but still relevant.
Well, Mana Crypt's pretty important to this hand. Like, if you keep this hand, you're keeping it on the back of Mana Crypt because you have this 3 and this 4.
Yeah, but I think if you really want to be playing your Mana Dogs with a questing piece, admittedly, you just drew. But it still leaves you in a situation where...
My guess is, honestly, here, you're hoping to hit land. And if you hit land this turn, you don't even play a Mana Dork. You just play the Ronus out, and you look to attack for 9.
You didn't draw Green Souls there, but... Green would be more
favorable.
Yeah, then play like a...
The highest upside play is to play Ronus
I don't like that play. I don't like that play at all.
No, it's very reactive.
Like, at least wait a turn to do that if you really want to be doing that.
No, and now what's going to happen is you're possibly going to get your Crypt blown up.
Yeah, you're even ramping your opponent.
And you're never going to have gotten to use it, which is, you know, you play Crypt to, you know, put 6 to 9 mana in your hand.
What's the worst thing that could have happened with us clocked out the following turn? They play a 1-drop and sacrifice it to draw 2? That's not the end of the world. If
they had a card that was likely to sacrifice 2, it'd be at 3 or 1. 2, they're not going to have a lot of stuff with 1 toughness. They may have Dark Confidant on their list, but like you have the tutor cards, like
Dark Confidant and the Emrakul list. Let's go. Baby.
Yeah, I doubt they're playing that. They might be. I mean, like honestly,
I don't remember them playing that.
I tend to run an Abzan, but I run a more low curve. I run a mid range Abzan list, right? Like when I tend to run.
Abzan. I think I'm curious. Do you take the Ronus here, or do you take the Questing Piece? Because I think I take Questing Piece, honestly. Because the Ronus doesn't do much on his own, and it's significantly slower. Definitely hard to deal with for Bailite.
I don't mind Ronus. Ronus is really hard to deal with, but they do have.
Hard to deal with.
They do have the Eldamri's Call, which equates to, in my opinion, a Palace Jailer. They may be off Palace Jailer, though, because I would have thought they would have gotten in the previous game.
I'd be very surprised if Bailite went off Palace Jailer. I'd be highly surprised.
You'd be highly surprised if they do not play it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me as well. I mean, I think it's a card that you should be playing in most Abzan.
I still think it's... I'm honestly thinking Palace Jailer, best white card.
That Thought's a very nice pickup.
Like, I can't think of a better white card than Palace Jailer. Like, even Stonefort, I think.
Depends on matchup. Like, Stonefort gives you access to, like, Clamp, which Clamp is...
True.
Yeah, like, Palace Jailer is probably one of the best white cards in the
format. Like, it's definitely an argument best.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, like, I think of, like, the best white cards, like...
Maybe even top 3, like...
If you would have told me, like you know, 5 years ago, I'd be playing a 4-mana 2/2 in pretty much every white deck that I play, you know, without qualifying what it did, like, I'd be like, no, there's no effing way. But yeah, it's pretty absurdly good. All right, so
you basically have to be playing white. We need to go, and even then, you're probably thinking, Can I go to 4 for Palace Jail and White Weenie?
So you don't want a Questing Beast here because they have a Caracas in play. Questing Beast does have that legendary line text on it.
And the Garrus Harbinger here, that's action.
It's a fine card.
Or is it hexproof, isn't it?
Hexproof and black, yeah. So it's not a bad card. I mean, I don't know that it's like the craziest card, for 3 mana, but it's a 4/3. It's got hexproof from a lot of black removal, and I forget, it draws you cards too, right? If you hit
it's kind of broken cards, yeah. It gets you your Garrux. I wonder if Reed's playing any Garrux in his list.
What is or TRM? If you don't mind, can you pull up that card, Garrux, whatever it is? Like, I think it
on it.
Or is it? It's 1 green? Yeah, and it gets you a from your top 4. I accidentally found it.
Okay.
Wait, Garrux what?
So, like, it gets you a creature or Garrux from your top 4.
So that's Titania. Titania is probably going to win the game here.
Sorry, that's technically incorrect. It looks as many cards as its damage, but since
it's damage, yeah, I thought impulse based on damage. That's what I wanted to see on it. I was pretty sure it did that, but I wasn't positive.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I figured it was 4. By the way,
yeah, which is awkward. It's generally going to be 4 because it does not have trample, right? It's kind of weird. It doesn't have trample, so like the damage volume or the amount of damage is going to tend to be abated. It's either going to hit or it's not going to hit, right?
Yeah.
The Caracas.
Titania is really big here. Like, that's just the way to. Like, even with the Caracas, like, if you want to be Caracas and playing Titania each turn, you can do that.
Well, that's actually like one of the things Titania is like.
I think you just crack the land here. Try for the probably just the Garrux Harbinger because that was actually hard to kill.
I think I'm like incentivized to trade possibly with both here.
I'm less big on that considering the Caracas and the fact you have the Assassin's Trophy.
I really don't
take the 4 here.
Yeah, I think you can leave the Questing Beast around. A part of me kind of, you probably allow the Questing Beast through and eat the 4/3. You don't want to get
you can know the one card in your opponent's hand is because you've seen that.
You can also just Caracas your own Titania next turn and get another 5.
That's one thing. You can either, like, depending on like what your hand looks like next turn, just Caracas and replay her and getting 1 more.
Yeah, it's not like Lingering Soul as much against Questing Beast.
I think I'd like to wait a bit before I start Caracasing her.
It depends on what I draw. If I don't draw,
I really, really like keeping that girl around.
I don't mind it either. I kind of like leaving the Caracas.
That sucks. That is not the kind of card you want to just.
Charming Prince is okay. I mean, it allows you to get a try in.
Would have been lovely alongside Titania, though.
For sure. I think, I talked myself into not blocking the Questing Beast so I could Caracas my own Titania and get another 5/3 to block the Questing Beast in the following turn. Like, you're at 5 total.
That was my greedy line of play, but I actually think I would have just approached.
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
Yeah, I would probably just think on with Lingering Souls play.
Well,
and
Lingering Souls
the Questing Beast when they attack.
Well, Lingering Souls really is pretty bad versus Questing Beast, right?
Oh yeah, but like I probably just Caracas Questing Beast when they attack with it.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I mean the problem. If I don't have a land drop to make, I don't mind having the Titania play.
You get the land drop that is pretty noble.
10 power. 10 power for 6 mana is not a bad deal. 10 power for 6 mana is pretty good.
Based on the fact that your hand just didn't have any threats to you, I guess the 4 would play a decent threat on its own. Not half bad at killing an opponent. But like, I would really like to just have that 5/3 that generate more 5/3s because that's just the way to kill your opponent who's sitting with a mana crypto.
No, I agree with you. I think going to 10 and doing the Caracas line on your own Titania is pretty good. I liked it. Oh, it all seems pretty good. They have artifact, sorcery, instant, land, and creature and bin. So that means that Delirium is on for the whatever that card is, Ulvenwald something.
I believe that's actually what is the black card?
Traverse. Well, it's not a black card; it's a green card. It's Traverse the Ulvenwald.
I was thinking the Yard. That's supposed to. Yeah, they do have 5 different types in Yard currently.
Yeah.
So that is an 8 mana. So, sadly, Assassin's Trophy does not kill your own creature.
No, well, that would shuffle too. So.
Yeah, that would shuffle too. Yeah, you're right.
One
mana off the.
Kalidas is a. If this Caracas wasn't around, Kalidas would be kind of interesting here. But Kalidas is not going to do much against an active Caracas.
No, And that's just lethal on board. Actually, no, it's actually lethal on board. You bounce it, you kill off whatever creature that stays around of these 2 dorks, then you swing and fix Axie.
Well, they don't know that's lethal on board, but they go ahead and concede it.
No, Bailite knows that, I think, outside of the 1 card.
Bailite knows that, but it's obviously it's Dark that conceded. They don't technically know that it's lethal, but it is with the removal spell.
But even if it isn't lethal, like your opponent kept some cards.
You're coming down to many crit flips. Like you're
Rakdos says how nice Kalitas in 4 mana.
Yeah, no, Caracas to 1. Caracas to 1, lol. Just kidding.
Caracas is one of those cards that I understand why it isn't at 1, but I hate the card.
I don't know. I look at it
like a ton of like insane. This is coming from a guy who like the kind of card they get bounced with it is like Circle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would raise a lot of arguments. So you're going to point Caracas like at some point, like and this is I think this is a very fair statement. Like I think Red Deck Wins is frankly, it's not checked by much.
No, I'm with you.
It's too good, right? It's too good. Here's the thing, right? Like I enjoy playing it. I don't mind playing against it. One of the issues you run into the format, especially like the top competitive levels, is that you have like these diverse but very linear and powerful strategies. And like Red Deck Wins, I hate calling the deck linear. A lot of people will call it linear, and like it is a deck that, in my opinion, its power comes from the fact that it can be linear, but it can also play a very variety game. You know, because
it's a linear game plan, but it's not a linear deck. Perhaps is a good way to put it.
It's flexible, right? Because like 33% of your deck is burn, which in and of itself can either represent clock, i.e., linear, or it can represent interaction on board. You know, which is it's very powerful to be able to have that kind of basically virtual card advantage built into a deck. But when you couple that with like the fact that like Storm is a very real, very powerful turn 4 deck that operates along a completely different and fairly linear, but also again interactive line, and then like Time Vault style decks or Oracle style decks that are very linear, very quick, and can also
time.
So you look at like the kind of the triple prong threat at the top, and like Death and Taxes is probably the most well equipped deck to deal with all 3 of those. That's why it's also a top deck in my opinion, is because of the meta that circulates around those.
Are we looking at finding a match? Currently, just trying to see if we have any matches still.
Certainly, going. Yeah. Whenever you grab one, I mean, I'm down to look at another match. But the issue I run into is that, like, you look at Red Deck Wins, like as far as like the operative cards that are pointed.
It seems like Lucas and Nego are either having fun or they're still playing. I'm not on MTG.
I don't know. I think TRM's pulling it up, so we'll get a match.
I am. So, like, I'm with you. Like,
yeah, sorry, I got this deck. I thought there was another game in that match. All right, no, we got according to my results sheet and according to MTGO, what we got left is Zannty versus TidehollowCat is still going. Evios versus ADK is still going. Let's watch Cymbalman versus OliveMTG because they're both new players and I'm kind of curious.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, I'm done.
What's up with either of them?
But no, yeah, you're right. Like, definitely decks that, like, reactive decks have a tough time in this format.
Well, it's not even about making reactive more powerful. It's really about getting a healthy center in the format. Like, it's more about mid-range to me. Like, control should be a meta deck. Like, Oracle is a control deck. Like, Oracle Time Vault's a control deck that has a combo.
It's a control combo deck.
Yeah, it's a hybrid control.
Would you say it's more of a control deck?
Depends on the matchup. Depends on the matchup you're in. If you gotta go fast, if you gotta go fast. Well, in the top meta, I would say it's more of a combo deck. You know, against Storm, it's going to control, combo kill. Against Red Deck,
you don't combo. You're not going to combo.
You know, maybe Fatal Push. You know, disrupt, combo kill.
Yeah, but you don't want to be sitting casting like mana leaks every turn.
No. You're not gonna win that way. You'll just get dead. They have too many cheap cards.
Has happened before.
But I guess the issue that I run into, like assessing Red Deck Wins, is like I don't personally know how you adequately point that deck, because at the end of the day, it is a deck that at the top least needs its points. If you were to cut Mox Ruby, Strip Mine, you know, shit, if you're on that plan, Price of Progress is really the only one that I think is canon. Like you just need to have that.
I mean, as annoying as it was that I couldn't play my
your free Black Lotus, yeah.
I think the choice to point Price was 100% correct. honestly.
Yeah, and that was one of the one of the arguments I had against it is that it had no impact. Is the biggest thing. I actually dialogued against it, not against per se that pointing, but like that if you were going to do it, that it needed to be a precedent for more change, right?
Yeah. You would ask me if I wanted, if you gave me the choice of playing either Price of Progress or Black Lotus in my mono red deck, I'd choose Price any day of the week.
Every time, yeah, no, 100%. So this is actually, I had to relook at this printing of Tamiyo. This is a Bant Blink deck, it appears, or a Bant Lands Blink deck.
What's the Bant value of some sort? I guess some sort of white weenie? It doesn't look too much like a D&T. Is it a D&T?
Yeah, I think Olive's list is more beatdown oriented.
You can't definitely have a very beatdown oriented.
They're not in a great spot though.
Who am I talking about here? I was gonna say. I figured I was like Olive is in.
That's a lot of first strike. A lot of first strike on the.
The first strike is just ignoring your attackers. The Tamiyo has too little loyalty. Node, really, and there's just so many pressing using so little life. You do have 7,000 mana.
A lot of cards in hand, and they have access to
what 2 mana type as well, man. Oh, I want to see someone get mana typed here. I haven't seen that in ages. Maybe in the couple cubes.
I believe I played against Olive on this deck the other night, and they the mana tithe wasn't great. I'm going to tell you right now, don't play mana tithe in your decks, folks.
No,
it's not really I think you get away with Force Spike because you play Force Spike in decks that are not white. They're like red.
Yeah,
blue.
you particularly play them in decks that already have ways of taxing your opponent.
Yeah.
That's really a deck that just goes mana leak, all this shit. You can't really stack up a multiple times to get awkward.
Yeah.
Even something like Unsummon in Skies, this just kind of does it. You could argue that a couple of the effects, the Thalia and such, do make opponents a bit more likely to do some mana type, but if you're playing Thalia, should you be playing mana type?
What gets him out of this?
We'll see.
I honestly don't know.
Apparently, his card is going to get a pretty hard hit by. Yeah, Yorion is going to be it's going to have to pay some taxes here.
Wouldn't have been enough anyways, given the board state.
No, it would have gotten them 3 life. Then they'd have 2.
Maybe it'd be enough. Maybe it'd be
actually no. It would have been enough to survive turn here because you're playing one. Yeah. And then they don't get to attack for next turn.
That feels good.
It does, in fact, feel pretty goddamn good.
I'm sure it feels good for you. I think this is one of those cards, the better it feels for you, the worse it feels for the other player. Just no.
Yeah. Little is one thing is there's a reason why I kind of to some degree we need zero mana cards with this format. But unless you really need them to keep a balance in the format of some sort, I just think zero mana cards are kind of hideous in a way.
I'm sorry, I lost track of what you were saying. What was the first part of that?
Zero mana spells and cheap. 1 mana spells mana type, in my opinion, for a format standard, modern, maybe not modern, but pioneer, I think it's just moving on with healthy design in general. We have this is what we often find, ways of reducing costs, L, for maximum mana, just ends up being really powerful.
I mean, come to find out, what's most broken in Magic tends to have to do with how you produce mana and how you draw cards.
Correct.
Drawing cards is pretty loosely attributed to physically actually drawing them. I mean, how do you accrue card advantage, whether virtually or directly, and how do you produce mana?
And then in some cases as well, how do you
Yeah, no, I mean, you see sensors. Well, you win the game with both those things, really. It's not really the cards.
I mean, I'm with you there. But sometimes you have Splinter Twins. You have
the
card is so powerful.
You look at a card like Rotting Registrar, for instance. It's
I'm with you there.
It technically kind of produces its own mana because it's so underrated. It's kind of like Tarmogoyf. Why is Tarmogoyf so good? Because it costs nothing. So it's basically, in a way, effectively producing mana for the EV that you get out of the card itself.
Yeah, right? Especially if you're not discarding, then what would be the vanilla if you assume you never discard? What would the vanilla free 2 and a black creature be?
Probably be a 3/3. 2/3 by today's standards, I mean, by original standards, it'd be a 2/2, right? The Escape Zombies. Say standards 3/3 or 3/4, right? So
like suddenly you can just like go like, yeah, if I'm discarding a card, it's probably because it's a Nocturne or I'm tempo on this card. That's fine. Then the 7/6 body on turn 3. It's just
and I think a lot of
it's the same mana reduction. No, you got it right. Yeah.
I think a lot of folks look at that discard as a downside, quote unquote, in that card. It doesn't. Well, and if you build your decks right, I think it generally should be an upside. I mean, you should be playing Bloodghast and shit like that, Cat Oven, whatever, like, cards that don't really care about going to the bin, they come back out and they do their thing anyways, Scrap Heap Scrounger, those kind of cards.
Yeah. Seems like we're getting ready for round 3 here. Seems like
I am just before we start, I just want to give everybody a quick reminder that if you want to join this event in the upcoming weeks, you can type ! Discord. If you're not on the Discord, that gets you to the official Canadian Highlander Discord, which will just give you a ton of opportunities to A, just play the format, and B, just see, like, we run the tournament off of it. So, like, if you want information on how the tournament works, that's your best play, and how to sign up, that's the best way to sign. That's your best bet to sign up. Also, just wanted to give you a reminder that if we are now a Twitch affiliate channel, we've been for a while at this point. If you want to throw a sub our way, we would really appreciate it, especially if it's your Prime sub. Your Prime sub should go to somebody. Jeff Bezos does not need that $5. If it's us, we really appreciate it. And if it's instead of your Prime sub, you want to use a normal sub, that's especially appreciated. Then you're spending your real actual money. Holy shit, that's crazy. Okay. With that said, also I will keep an eye out in Twitch chat, because I'm gonna post the sign up for the next tournament there in the next 10 minutes or something. In the meantime, I'm going to post pairings in the Discord, and let's see. Oh, we have
which means once again, people, they are on an Aether Hub. So if you want to see them, you can also check them instead. To remember.
What did you say? Sorry.
I'm just reminding the people. These are the ones who are to us right now in the Discord chat, and if they're listening the call, for some reason, cheaters. Okay. Then they can also hear that. Yes, they can see it both now on the Discord channel, as well as over in the hub. Let's see. What do we have? 6 points here. I'm looking at the Eevees.
Yeah.
And we just saw Bailite.
To address a couple of things in chat, Shiner, I think Storm is actually quite interactable. When you look at the builds, they actually committed a decent bit of their deck to actually interacting. Now, generally, their interaction is meta interaction. It's interaction with other interaction.
Yeah. Things like silence.
Silence effects, abeyance effects. Cards that like try to stop interaction. So if your deck's not interacting with them in a meaningful way, then those cards are pretty bad for them. But
another reason you play a card like Lightning Bolt if you do.
Yeah, and again, it's an
kill card at times, but like you can also just kill a foul if you need to.
Sure, you have Fire Ice, you could have Mystic Charm in there. Like cards like that are interactive cards. They're designed to be interactive. Ideally, they do something that promotes the primary game plan as well. Sometimes that may just be getting under a Chrome box or whatever, or getting discarded to a Faithless Looting. But I think Lightning Bolt. Yeah, I was gonna say I've used Lightning Bolt as a win con too in that deck. It's that I've run Fatal Push in that deck. Abrupt Decay is not bad as tech if you are against a format that's going to have camp balls in it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's actually that's one of the powers of Storm is that it is again a very fast linear deck. It's a pretty much resolute. If you know how to play that deck, it's turn 4 deck. Like if you mulligan that deck correctly,
it's pretty consistent turn 4. Yeah, sure, it does have some turn 5 games and some turn 3 games, and
your
if
turn
you're lucky, turn 1 or 2 or 1 as well at times.
Yeah, no, if you have the right hand, you can kill on 1. But I would say it's probably like 60-40, 3-4. Like, I honestly don't think you have turn 5 games in that deck if you mulligan it correctly, and you don't you have a percentage of them, right? I mean, you have a percentage turn 10 games, like in the.
I think that's actually one of the more difficult sides of the deck is actually knowing when you auto mulligan. Like, you can have a hand that's like, oh, I have all the cantrips, but like, if you're just playing turn 1 cantrip, turn 2 cantrip, turn 3 cantrip, and
Yeah.
you don't really have any other pieces,
I just think the
then
best way
it might be a turn 5 kill against a mono red deck, and you still won't be doing that.
I think when you start looking at like how do you beat that style of deck, it tends to really tie back first and foremost to pressure. Then you look at disruption. I'm not a big fan of cards like Deafening Silence against them because like that's a card that one's not going to provide you a lot of equity in a ton of other matchups, and two, like they'll find a way to Chain of Vapor it, 3 fairy it back to your hand, and then just do their thing and win. Or Abrupt Decay it, whatever. They can sit there and just draw cards and find what they need to find, or Limb Duel's Vault into an Abrupt Decay and blow it up, and then do their thing the next turn. Whatever it is. Hard to disrupt that deck. Like that's why it's very good. It's very interactive. Like it can stop all kinds of stuff.
But it's definitely a deck that's usually more varied on when it kills and how it gets disrupted. Like than say, we mentioned mono red as well as one of the definitely the fast decks that just kills you.
Yeah, well, that's a challenging part of the meta game and like the format in general, in my opinion, as it stands like right now. And I think it's something that's like going to slowly kind of shift and change. Is that like I can't play Obstinate Baloth in good faith in a lot of my decks because like I'm going to get stormed the hell out when I have Obstinate Baloth in my deck, right? And that's a fine card, against red deck wins. They're like, oh, what am I going to do against this idiot?
And then you try to see, can I play both Combo and Obstinate in my deck? Like,
yeah. And then so
that's a challenge. Along with Oracle and goes, I'm just 1-2 puncher.
Yeah, no, that's a challenge with it for sure. I mean, if you want to play top decks, or if you're playing against top decks, like. That's why you see like at the year ends and stuff. Like I mean, there's a lot of very similar decks. Some folks bring like solid tier 2 archetypes like Blue Moon. In my opinion, is a very solid but tier 2 archetype. It's a meta deck.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean,
one of the things I do like the admittedly the tier 1 is kind of shallow for the mid. It's 4 decks or some 5 decks maybe, which isn't small. It's not nothing. But it's not insanely wide, but then when you get to the tier 2, that's when it really widens out. Like you get like a lot of options.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you can. I mean, it took second place in a league with like Sui Black.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not that deck's not good. It's a bad deck. Like it's like a worse version of aggressive white and aggressive red. Like it just is. And I had fun playing it, but like I was like, this deck's not good. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about having fun, right? Like that's kind of why I play this format. I don't play it to win prizes. The prizes, frankly, aren't good enough.
No, absolutely. I don't think most people play this format for the prizes. Like even the people in Canada and Canadian in what's called Yellow Jacket and such, I don't think they like play for prizes. I don't think people have so high prices most of the time that it makes up for the fact that you're paying to have black and numbers, especially if you're playing on paper.
Yeah, it probably doesn't justify the cost of most decks.
No. Like that's the same with vintage. Like the only the thing is that when you have the tournament in paper or such, they have like you're getting like when you're winning things, you're winning like dual lands at that point, such wastelands, such cards.
Yeah,
like alternate art card version of important cards. You're not just winning like here you go, here's your $100. Like great.
Yep. All right, so let's look at these opening hands here we got from Evios and Luca. So Evios got a mock start, probably going to be landing a 2-drop this turn. Looks like Ooze.
Ooh, I'm actually interested. This is interesting. We're seeing Evios is something that
I play Evios a lot. Evios like loves to grind this format. Like they keep a lot of hours on playing Magic. So
absolutely.
I played them, I think, like 3 times today, or maybe only once today, but like a lot over last week. They've been on this deck for a while.
Yeah.
Well, they've been on this deck for a little while now, and they've been honing it in.
Absolutely. But like the last couple seasons we've been seeing Evios primarily on their Blue Moon. So it's interesting to see them playing something else here on stream, actually.
Yeah, they were on this deck last week, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mentioned.
Yeah, we know that knowledge of last week is an unending void.
It's full of like a green-white DMT type of deck.
What's going to be interesting to see is if I assume they're going to probably sequence out the Spirit of the Labyrinth here over the Giver. That could be incorrect, though. I would look to trade here. Oh wait, they're on 2 green mana sources. They're mana.
Yeah. But then fence queen.
Was that? Do you hold the deck aggro or mid range?
I'm not familiar enough with Evios. Like, imagine
Evios?
it's more mid range if you're playing from. It's definitely more of a beatdown kind of side of the mid range.
No, it's Celestia mid range, as I call it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Or just green white taxes is probably a fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. When you're playing like cards like Spirit of Labyrinth, you're probably some sort of taxes.
Their mana is kind of dog shit, though. I failed to notice that in the opener.
Yeah, that is definitely awkward, and that could just end up being game. Like they're definitely beating down for a good bit, but like when your opponent can play cards each turn and increase the clock, and you can't.
Well, their OP has missed their lands as well, so it's not like not like you're just dead.
No, you're right. This is not like game over. I'm curious to see if you want to be playing a threat here. Like then again.
No, my guess is you chain lightning like the Dryad. You chain lightning the Ooze rather. Sorry. And you equip up. And you equip up with the clamp and just smack.
I think. Yeah. Actually, yeah, you're pretty right. Clamp is better. Actually, is it really? It's the same damage this turn.
Well, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna take this line of play, you definitely want to do it the other way around so that you can leave.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I would definitely push first.
Yeah, I'd push first, then try to leave chain in the bin. I guess they have mana up, so there's that. But I'd rather have chain in my bin.
Yeah, I was trying to think is any notable like combat trick.
Yeah.
Aggro, something you play around that way. They play that for some reason.
Well, Evios kept a greedier one that didn't really have the mana resources to get there, and got punished. Unfortunately,
that's the kind of deck that really wants mana sources. This hand I like better. The Ravages War isn't lovely.
Well,
Lucas's hand on one hand is not great.
I actually don't mind Ravages in this hand. I actually don't think it's the worst. It's not going to be relevant for a while.
But it's a bit of like I like the militant. I don't love the militant in this matchup. It's fine.
Mother of Runes is really good in this matchup.
By the way, TRM, we can't see the leftmost cards in Lucas. We see the Rampage. That's
I apologize for that. It's depending on whether the player has or doesn't have the graveyard open.
Yes. Do feel free to inform Lucas about that.
They actually got rid of the Aether Vial. I guess that makes some sense.
Yeah, when you it was like this is supposed to have one creature.
Yeah, they also didn't see much out of the green-white mid-range deck last time. There's a lot of mana denial in the green-white deck, so Vial can be relevant in that domain. Like I think it's a Winter Orb double Geddon deck.
I don't
think they're classic deep.
You might see an Aggro Rampage here, but I could also just see the call. We could see the Rampage here. Get rid of that. Runes can definitely be rather disruptive.
Yeah, just nip it in the bud now.
Yeah. Like, don't let them have a chance to play whatever green creatures they want to be playing.
And I think Evios here is likely hoping to draw a 2 or 3 drop.
That is a 2 drop. That's actually a pretty good 2 drop, like allowing you.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad one. I mean, based on mana efficiency, that's a perfect answer. Based on mana efficiency, you probably now you're probably gonna braid plus just play the clamp out. Oh nope, they're gonna get this into play.
Would you not rather want to guide and play and just start beating down, perhaps, when you have
they can't guide plus a braid the Smuggler's Copter, and like I don't mind getting a Copter. Yeah. Card draw. Oh, that was a hell of a draw. So that was a draw for a draw. I got a braid plus Caracas.
Yeah.
So Caracas is going to bounce this at Judith.
I think they get the chance to see the Copter hits here, probably. But, like, I'm curious, like, if you don't draw anything that you want to discard, what are you just going to hear? Just the Ravages, I presume, because your opponent has some box at the moment.
Yeah, no, Shiner Track. And yeah, they can't braid plus a Goblin Guy. They can only clamp plus a braid or Judith.
I don't love the Ravages. It doesn't put pressure on. And your opponent has a Mox, and you don't have many lands they might just need anymore. Especially if you knew they had a clam, then that'd be even less incentivized to do so.
That is a winged Pegasus.
I was not expecting that one.
It's 2/1 flying for 1 mana.
Are we sure this is still his Aristocrats deck and not just a Like I know you put on that.
You think
Yeah,
that's just
Shiner-
on straight
It feels
Aristocrats?
almost more like a Mardu, like Aristocrats aggro deck. Not Aristocrats.
Yeah, Shiner. In my experience, Loyal Pegasus and like Bonded Construct are not really the. They're just generally not going to make the cut in Canlander.
No. Like I'm trying to think if there's any version of that is played. I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, no, I think
maybe some of the red ones and some very aggressive mono or deck. I don't know.
There is not a red version of this card, right? There's like a bonded construct is colorless, but I don't think.
No, there is.
Oh, there's like Mog
Ember-
Flunkies, right?
Mog
Yeah, Mog
Flunkies,
Flunkies.
Org, Ember
Yeah, there's
Beast.
a cat as well, I believe.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, the Mog Flunkies, if you go higher, seems I like those. Then I like the one drops. Which is weird because like you can play a one drop into a Mog Flunkies, but like at least with the Mog Flunkies, you can like at least with the one drop, you can go 10-2 one drop.
I feel like the green-white deck's going to kind of do what it's supposed to do this game, which I think in general, green-white's going to be pretty favored against, well, maybe not Mardu generally, but this variety of Mardu.
I really like this matchup for inside of EVs. Like, I think it's going to be hard. Like, he did win the first game, but also he was having a greedy keep and just not drawing the lands.
Yeah.
But, like, when you're playing Pruns and you're playing your Model Runes, like, that makes it awkward for the opposing creature deck. Yeah, sure. Drive mission is a 2-1, but 2-1 still trades with a goblin.
Yeah, Shiner, I don't know that Mog Flunkies are still playable, to be frank with you. I think Goblins has a lot of value lines now. They have a lot of combo and value-oriented lines.
Yeah, like they have like literal one-card combos.
Yeah, I mean, with Muxus now, I mean, you can definitely set some stuff up. I mean, you always had combos and Goblins. I mean, now with...
Well, not even just Muxus, but like also the new from the M20.
Which card?
I'm trying to remember the name right.
Conspicuous
Snoop. Yeah, Snoop works.
Snoop, yeah. Snoop.
There's quite a few. I mean, even before, like I think it was better built as like a red splash black deck that just or splash green.
Absolutely. Like this, we got a lot of nice black cards. We got the munitions expert as well. A lot of cards from. I think really Modern Horizons just solidified that you should probably be playing black.
Zleen Gang too.
Yep. So, not looking so hot for Rakdos.
No,
I'm thinking Rakdos, but it's not Rakdos. It's Mardu.
I am seeing that. Yeah, I was gonna say it is Mardu act because like
I see a scale elemental and I think Rakdos.
Exactly. I also saw the red white 3/2 that pumps you.
I mean, at a minimum, they can get in for 8 this turn, which is not a bad hit, but and it gets the Eternal Witness out of hand. But they're dead on the crackback, so they basically only
like one of the main arguments for when you're playing like 3 colors is that you get to not run your Loyal Pegasus.
It's like
white.
You don't have to.
Get to play
playing it anyway.
It's like the
you don't have to
play 3 colors.
It's like.
I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible they were just looking for more.
I don't like this line of play. I do not like this line. Yeah, if you play Lightning Elemental, nice. You killed that one card in hand. That's great.
I don't think they have another line. I honestly think they don't have another line. They need to look to block with the.
Brown. You're right.
And then maybe they can pop their fetch. Oh, they can't attack with both. That's very aggressive. No, they're gonna play. They're gonna play out their 2/2.
Doesn't have trample, does he?
No, he does not. He can get blocked.
Yeah, so I think this is just the slam the.
I don't mind it. It's like the highest upside in this play is that you can force a game draw via playing out your 2/2, blocking the Thrun, going to 2 off the attack with both cards.
Hoping to draw like.
Well, then you take your untap, draw Price of Progress, pop the Silent Clearing, and then force a draw in the game. That's I don't know. That's the best I can think.
You don't even need to pop Silent Clearing. It's just a draw.
Yeah, it'd be a draw regardless. But you could pop it.
No, actually, no, it's not. You're one-off lethal.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you?
I actually don't mind the line. I think you kind of have to look for a high upside.
No, I like it. I just remembered incorrectly. I forgot the correct step.
Yeah, Judith does nothing.
Something you probably shouldn't be doing, but like I'm thinking about other things. I'm like looking at Chad.
Yeah.
Agent Scully, agent. What is between agent? Skirt Fire Marshal, yeah. That's a bit slow on the Goblin side.
I believe they're talking
Broncoli
about
Hot
Drifter,
package.
Does that do it? So that 4... No, I mean, it's going to get blocked anyway, so it's
Yeah, they get blocked, sadly. Like, would have been 1-off, I think, if otherwise.
Yeah, if they actually hit.
2+2+2, so that's 6.
Yep. Nope, not going to quite make it.
So that leads us to, I presume, game 3.
Yep.
It would seem like.
Crafted War Gear is interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking at what we have here. It seems like a 5-mana. Bit awkward, but it's not basic. You play only one of each.
Both hands are keepers. I mean, like,
Yeah, I'm not sure what the last cut is even for Lucas, and I'm like, this is still. Yeah.
It's a lightning helix, which
and
can't
I'm
be
like,
cast
you
at the
have.
moment.
Yeah, you can get the. Oh, right, yeah, because you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got a swamp.
But still, like, yeah, this is a fine turn 1, and you can definitely play.
I'll throw it out there. I tend to hate Goblin Guide in this style of matchup.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of it.
No, I'm with you there. This is not the matchup you want your Goblin Guides in.
I'd almost rather just not have haste to be
I'm
able to
also like looking at Dreadboard, and I'm like, if you're playing 3 colors, like Dreadboard's fine if you're playing black, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you're also white, but you really need the Dreadboard.
Well, I mean, some of that's also
we talk about the quality of your one drops. Come on, guy.
Oh, Carnifex.
Come on.
Hey, I can appreciate it from a theoretical level. You know, I mean, like Carnifex, old card. You know, it shouldn't be in the deck, but yeah, I still love it.
Okay, if you're going down that path, at least play Infinite.
You just play Savannah Lions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like okay, yeah, like that's definitely down.
The Runic Armasaur.
I can find enough playable wonders in black red to not play Carnifex.
So what's going to be interesting in this game is if they do hit their land. If they do hit their land this turn, the game's going to get a little more interesting.
Like, what is the argument for playing Carnifex? What do you have that triggers of you losing life? I'm trying to find the next little play here.
I don't think you do. I think it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we just get in for like more here. Make them pop the ballista, hopefully, to save some damage. And then, slam a Carnifex, chain lightning face? Probably not. And again, you do have a lot of removal.
It depends if the Bali blocks this turn. I could see it going either way. They're at 16. They may not want to go down to 14. Yeah, they're going to take the block.
Oh, they chump, yeah, so they kill the... They just want to not take damage.
I think given their hand...
I like that play.
Yeah, you set up your ruse.
You have so much value in your hand. Like, you can grind this game out and just keep trading with your hand.
I actually don't know. I mean, like, for mana efficiency's sake, you throw this bolt, but I don't know if I like throwing it. There's a lot of cards in hand right now, and this Runic Armasaur is going to be something that comes down and is like, how the hell do I get this thing?
I'm with you. And, like, I think I'd be a tad bit more on for it if, like, say I had, instead of, like, maybe, like, if I had, like, 1 more mana and could play the Walking with certainty, I'd be a lot more, like, on, because, like, having a 5 is going to be a lot more difficult for you.
Well, I believe, are they going to get... No, this only works off creatures and lands, so if they equip up the Crafted War Gear, it's not going to give them a card.
Easy is the land of... Nope, never mind.
But they got the kill spell in hand.
Yeah, just get in for 4, put your opponent late. You have a...
Honestly, if Avios does not hit a land here, they could be in some trouble.
Yeah, like the EVs, like they have all the threats in this game. Like,
yeah.
The damage is cool. I think this might actually. I think it might be if Lucas white swords or red swords, preferably a white sword, admittedly.
Yeah.
Or just something good to play on 2 mana. I think this might be their game to win.
Yeah. Yep. I think they're still down to Evios drawing a land here. If Evios still draws a land, I think they're still in the game.
Yeah, being able to, like, Charming Prince, Voice.
Yeah, they need a 2-threat.
Or even, like, I don't know, I'm not sure what you'd be getting Green Sunset. Seems to be free, that's obvious. It's definitely something like Cold, or, yeah. Oh, yeah, Kitchen Finks, duh.
Yeah.
Swarm, definitely not the land. I'm not sure how much of a budget Lucas is on. Like, I imagine some amount. If I know Lucas well enough. But I don't love the double swamp in the 3-colored Mardu deck. I think you just want to play at most like one of each basic and call it quits there if you can. Again, if you're on a budget, don't play Mardu.
Yeah, Shiner Zombies is actually shockingly a pretty good deck. Like I built it kind of as a meme, and like I was actually frankly pretty
like
shocked.
a black-white list probably.
Mostly black, but yeah, splashing white. It was very grindy.
I don't think the blue. I think the blue is too grindy and cute. What do you get from blue mostly?
So the
the white cards actually help the game plan.
The ooze will get to get big.
Yeah.
And that's a life on board.
It can gain 1 life at the moment, so that's 4.
Well, it doesn't actually gain life here because they tapped a Horizon Canopy, so they took one. They took one life.
Yeah, but like with the it can gain 1 with a temple, so that puts them at a current quote-unquote 4.
The awkward thing in this board situation is that like ooze.
This is currently looking at like what can.
Well, like you kind of want to play this Lurus out, but you also want to have access to ooze activations. So like you're in this weird position where like you needed your mana, obviously. Like
you could play a Charming Prince and then Green Suns.
Yeah, you could, and then
and then ooze.
Just leave up ooze. You're not really. You're going up 3 on that.
I think that's the best choice. It gives you a way to trade if you want to do that. I'm not sure you do.
Now, what I'm curious to see is if
need the screws to get to a level where it can block anything.
I think you want to main phase ooze too, here, because
I like that.
4 is a pivotal point.
They around so many full effects that may have.
Yeah, instant speed 3 damage burn spells are pretty bad if you do it on their turn. Well, that's not one of those, but
this is where we see like the problem of playing a 3-color. Like, if you have, like, we're definitely getting closer and closer with time. Like as we're getting.
Well, no, and it's like if you were on mono red, like you were kind of talking about like how the game looked closed, and like it would have been if it was red deck wins. You'd just be like, all right, like anything I draw is going to kill you at this point, as long as it's not land.
Like, admittedly, the Warship Valkyrie, you can definitely play on mono. Actually, it's a fine card. I have considered it at times.
Yep, Grim is actually going to be kind of problematic here because they have no creatures in their bin, and Evios is incentivized to eat one of their own creatures to basically stay life neutral. And grow the ooze.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to gang block there because they don't want to lose their scavenging ooze. I think the ooze is pretty relevant for them to be able to stabilize. I mean, they could.
Ooh, that's a prismatic vista. That's a bit awkward that you lose life on it. But
yeah.
It's life neutral if you activate schools with the mana you get from it. I'm between getting the things here and then, or just double schools and play the voice probably. It's between those two for me. I kind of like the voice play getting 2 bucks and still growing the schools. Meaning that you get to a 6/6, which can at least trade with. I guess it does make the Criminal Master that bit better.
Yeah, I think what I like doing is putting the Voice of Resurgence in play and then leaving up 2 activations of ooze here.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying as well. Yeah.
And then look to high roll land on the next turn, and then be able to play out the Lurus and cast a 1/1 Walking Ballista to kill off the Grim Lavamancer, which provides them with reach.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that is a lot of play you can do. True.
But I'd be hoping to set that up for the following turn.
Just notable, I believe you can only cast the if my understanding is correct from what I heard. The Walking Ballista has a x=0 or x=1 with the Lurus.
Oh, did I use
weird
gang block? Yeah, I don't know.
Knight isn't bad either. Just get rid of the war gear.
Yeah,
kill this awkward situation of like you're dead to 2 Lava Masters currently, and
no, it's probably Shiner. It's probably just a me thing. I played Magic in many continents. I'm old. I don't know. I just gang blocking. I don't know, man. That's a lot of black mana. I think it's an intuitive one though. I don't think it's like an unintuitive like turn of phrase. How many creatures in bid? There's 1, 2, 3.
Really hurts just seeing the worst possible.
I honestly think you just leave up your Grim and look to hit face down to 2. They can gain up to.
Yeah, like if you really need to, you might see if they have something that's worse to hit.
Yeah, like, you can also.
You don't even think there's an argument for attacking with this
the real reason to
and then killing the
leave it up. The real reason to leave it up, in my opinion, is because you can actually you can exile in response to them targeting your Carnophage with
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna block with the Knight of the Autumn here pretty easily.
I was gonna say if they block, then I might actually just kill off the schools.
Yeah, I guess
Because of the awkwardness of my hand not being able to cast it. Like this is a problem. Like the more one mana, if you're playing more than 2 colors, you want a significant part of your mana base to either you don't want to be like playing cards that are pretty flexible on the mana, or you want to have a lot of fetches, duels.
Yeah, now unless you're playing Caravac Spite in your deck, I'm pretty sure you're just dead. Well, actually, what's interesting is
if they're willing to play a 1 mana card that goes by the price of this.
Well, no, I was gonna say if they do play out the Walking Ballista here to kind of go through the line that I was talking about, as opposed to they go to 2, which makes it reachable.
Yeah,
I do think you just go to face here, though. You try to high roll as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to Loris. I don't like that.
I don't like that much either. Then again, this does mean that I really actually don't like this. Not necessarily because of the choice of killing Loris, but specifically when you did it.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that at the beginning of combat. Like I can get behind doing it, and there's an argument for that. Like then you could be like, fair, I cannot actually do something.
Well, what's funny here? What's really funny here?
It would have been a win, yeah.
Well, no, but it might still be. So, like, if they cast Aldamri's Call and try to get a life-gain creature on EOT, if you just leave up this Lightning Helix, you may be able to just get them.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Like, I don't think the Brahms is well.
Let's see. Well, what I'm saying is, like, if this Aldamri's Call gets cast, I think there's a good chance that it could get cast EOT here. Like, I think there's a chance. I can see it.
Heck, even like. No. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, if that Longmas had one phase, you know you have the possibility of just winning. At least, you know you have the possibility of drawing a white or red source and then winning off Lightning Helix.
This is a pretty big mistake.
I feel like that's the kind of chance you have to take in this scenario.
Yeah, all the way. This is a pretty big mistake here, in my opinion.
Like, your opponent has something like Horizon Canopy.
Well, you know that your opponent is on all gas.
Now you're just giving them time to just scavenging.
Yeah, you would have won here, right? Like they're going to cast the Aldamri's Call. Yep.
I'm with you.
That's
I do agree. I think it's a fair argument for killing the Loris, but if you do that, I think it should have an inner turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, they can get the Walking Ballista, but you know what? They got a health priority and done it either way. That's what they wanted to do.
Oh, you're getting jitted this turn, or you're getting Shadow
Spear.
And
I just love the idea of just slap spear, quip, make big ooze, gain life. GG.
Yeah, is it though? So
how much? It's 6, it's 7. You go to 10. You go to 11 when you consider the Horizon Canopy, and then you take what? I mean, I guess this from your point of view. Who needs Stoneforge? Yeah, who actually needs Stoneforge? Apparently, definitely some arguments.
Yeah, no, I think there was a cleaner line here.
Yes, the devious cover of WinCon deck.
So this thing becomes a what? Becomes a 5/5. So they go to 8. So they're effectively at 9.
Mutual aggro for the blowout. I believe it's the traditional response to the triple block.
Oh wait, no, they can just they can just as easily.
It is one thing. Like, I think I'm just kind of a bit. Yeah, actually, you know what? I like that better than the choice of just growing news. Actually, then again, it's 3 life you gain there. I think. No, I'm still a bigger fan of. Well, never mind. I was wrong. Definitely don't play the actual news apparently, because the opponent's just gonna draw a removal spell for it, and they now can't use it. You can play the card and make them trade the 2/2 for another 2/2, which they were gonna do anyways.
Yeah, the attack should
kind
have.
of. Yeah, just like this is what we're seeing. We're seeing like you have all of these great cards in hand, and loads of red mana to cast them. You can cast all of them one at a time in your Aggro. A bit awkward. Because Aggro decks are the decks that really want you to be playing your cards on curve more so than
No, your
mid-range
spells,
deck can take the turn off at times if it.
your spells are very temporally relevant.
Exactly. That Call of Age compared to the turn 1 Call of Age. The turn 10 Call of Age is just why do I play this card?
So they're an effective 8 right now off of the ooze. They can obviously gain one more but lose one more off of their.
I'm trying to see if this is legal. Stretch of imagination.
I don't believe they're going to be able to equip and shit this turn. So there's a possibility if their OP hits a mana source, a red mana source, they can Grim Lavamancer plus Lightning Helix to do 5 and then set up a lethal Brimaz attack if there's any sort of attack here.
Imagine playing Soul of One Piece here.
Imagine playing what?
Soul of One Piece here.
Yeah.
I mean, don't play Soul of One Piece. I will say, of all the souls, like, even the new Rakdos soul, I can't remember. At least that card doesn't suddenly become bad when people. And. Like, sure, that only destroys Planeswalkers and which is just kind of like. I mean.
The only one that I consider, like, pretty hard and fast in most decks, if you're going to run Stoneforge, it's really sort of Fire and Ice. It has a lot of.
Even then, the decks that don't care for it that much.
Well, yeah,
it's definitely my go-to if I don't want to put points in Jid. Yes,
I have found that maybe specifically in the online meta, I've actually like sort of Light and Shadow more than sort of Feast and Famine. But
yeah, and Soul and Feast and Famine, I've never actually been that big on it unless you can like really use all that extra mana.
Well, I think where sort of Feast and Famine becomes interesting is in decks that are running instant speed interaction, like counter spells and a lot of.
Yeah, that too. Like out of like some sort of like
bug ninjas or something like that, or like
ninjas. I even think in the deck like honestly, I think even deck like
Bant is pretty good in.
Bant, yes. I was gonna say Abzan as well. I think it's fine actually.
Yeah.
Specifically, like Bailite deck, I think.
I
like it with.
I saw this card and my comment was almost, "Oh wow, it's like a bad wilderness reclamation."
Yeah. Well, it's like one that kills someone though.
Yeah,
directly. With anything.
Yeah. So this would have been
I don't think a sort of System Family is a worse card.
I really don't like playing that Squatch thing.
You don't like playing what? The Bloodsoak Champion?
The Dust Squatch.
Oh no, I didn't care for that either.
From Evious, I just like
that was one. If they hit a red source, you're just dead again.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like there's a bunch of plays where you. If my opponent played correctly, I would have been dead.
No.
I'm just reading into. Yes, the Wilderness Reclamation.
Well, they can't get a sword
in. The most beloved card has now been banned in 3 formats, correct?
Yeah, they can't get a sword hit in here. Assuming they very aggressively use their Giver of Runes, right? Yeah, they can. They can give protection from white. The Blood-Soaked Champion does not block.
And that leaves them with a Grim Lavamancer.
It does.
Which,
they probably would like to Grim, but what would be interesting
if you want to, you could even play the sword here. Equip the sword, and then the Grim Lavamancer doesn't block either.
They're going to go.
Actually,
they're going to go.
9, 10. You would have been 2 of actually.
It would have been lethal. What I think they're going to do, and I think makes a lot of sense in this sequence, is they're going to look to EOT it so they can leave up ooze activations.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty.
An argument for this instantly giver ring this elemental.
That said, if Luca hits a red source, I think they can still win this if they go to face right now. Like, they need to start hitting face.
You mean if they just swing in with everything but bottom?
Well, no. If they hit face right now, they put them down to 3, right? And they can gain.
Oh, you mean with the
1. Yeah. So if they still hit a red source, they're still lethal here. Like, it's still lethal.
No, they're going face now. They see the lightning here.
Yeah, this is a line that I think should have been taken a little while ago. I think this game would have been over.
Yeah, like Lavaman is the kind of guy that just says you have to keep getting life, my friend, because I'm gonna keep having cards in my graveyard.
Yeah. So red source off the top is a game win. That's
that
a
is a red source.
That's a game win.
It's a game win. I can't think of anything that the EVs might be able to do here.
Unless they're not running Blood Crypt and Badlands in their deck. But
they can feel the ruin and then get Forest, and oh wait, they have to. It's still dead because they take 5.
There we go. Yeah. No,
they just like give runes themselves and get protection from red. Oh wait.
No, unfortunately, it does not work that way. It's not Burton Forge Tender.
I'm gonna tap my Giver runes, give myself protection from black. You can't make this. Your acquisition of those like failed.
I am a creature. Didn't you know that? It counts.
TRM, did you say something?
It's like I am a creature. I can give myself protection.
You're going like ghost like this. Like that's the kind of way you're going right now, TRM. I just be on my end. I can hear you, but you just went like some sort of echo kind of stuff.
Zannty, no, they were 2 points of damage short, and it would have put them out of range of gaining any life. So it would have put them actually Dobbs if they had used their mana to tap out for sword to play off of the Stoneforge Mystic and equip the sword, and then pass it through with their Giver of Runes. It would have only put their OP to 2, and it also would have tapped them out of life gain, so they would have actually been dead to the Grim Lavamancer activation on face, unless they target it with sword.
Can you play Noble, and then that gets in your extra 2 and cheat in the sword through Stoneforge?
I have to go back and look at it. I don't think they had the mana to do all.
It was a 6/6 or it was a 7/7 when it attacked.
I think that's actually correct. I think that's actually legal because I miscounted the Stoneforge.
Equip the sword.
A lot of
you're
folks
attacking with a 9/9 that deals 2 to face with the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Maybe you had it. I don't know. If they had it, they had it. Now the other thing was, did that involve going down to 3 at any point in time via tapping the Horizon Canopy, because that puts you to dead to the.
But they were at 5, so they go down to 4.
4, okay. Yeah, that could have been the right line then. I think honestly, I wasn't paying that much attention to that point.
It would actually left them at dead either way, because at that point they actually no, depends on what they hit. They go face. Then when the trigger goes on the stack from the Sword of Fire Ice, you hit them and hit them face with your
sword.
With your
you hit them face
helix, and then you shoot them for lethal with the grip lava so that they chose to kill.
But they don't have 2 red sources to do both.
Yeah,
no, because you do that on the untap when you untap with the Lavamancer. Because they're not going to kill the Lavamancer.
You're not giving them another turn. They're just dead.
Well, because lightning helix.
No, Gosman, I see what they're saying. I have to go back and look at it to verify the numbers match up.
I think you're just lightning helix can survive, exactly.
Well, yeah, that's the other issue is he's a helix. If you go to face the helix, you do survive,
right? Like from their point of view, I think you're right. There was probably a bit of line of play just going like, here, I have to kill.
Yeah, the thing is that game entirely, I think it came down to some more reactive lines of play taken from Luca's side that I think could have closed the game, like probably 4 to 5 turns earlier.
Yeah. And while it technically didn't happen, there was also some small choices. Versus side. I think less so. It was less cases of like really like big misplays and more like you kept giving your opponent the chance to just randomly just have the burn.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, green white in general is going to be a more face-up deck than like anything with red. It's going to be red. Just gives you a lot more choices to make in general, in my opinion.
Yeah, does it help like having a couple of tutors in that deck?
I lost audio. Really like about real quick and jump back in.
Okay. Just to be clear, Loman, do I also sound super echoey to you, or is it just Gosman?
Oh no, you don't anymore. You just did for.
Okay.
I don't know why you did before, but you don't do so right.
Well, it's. I am glad that that's fixed.
Yeah, it's just like, it's weird. Until I mentioned it, you sounded echoey, and then you just stop speaking. Then it worked fine as it was. I don't know why.
Before we start round 4, I just want to let people know that I did put together the next event command for, next event. I created the next tournament on either hub, so people can start going to sign up there if they so desire. So, that's the thing. And
again, that's the same time next week for people who are curious.
Yeah, 1 p.m.
And again,
Eastern,
if you want to be joining us, again, I presume once this goes up on YouTube, we're gonna have the link for the Discord channel.
If
as
you're
well.
watching this on YouTube, the Discord channel is always in the description. So.
And likewise, we have it in the Twitch chat right now. So if you want to see it there, it's available.
So yeah, just
and
join us.
Come join us. Like, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, and if you're watching this on YouTube, another thing that is in the description is going to be the link to our website. And, well, usually we have been a little sleeping on updating the website, but usually the website always has the link to the next tournament, tournament that's happening. So we are... So if you can go to the website, there is like a next events page, and that always has the link to the either hub page that you can go there and sign up. And enough about talking about logistics. Let's. Why are we running 4 rounds? Why does it say it's 5 rounds? I set it to 4.
That's a funny thing that I've had when they made a 5-round tournament. It's at 6 for some reason.
I thought
I don't really know why, but for some reason it always makes it additional. It's really weird.
I had set it to 4. I thought maybe I didn't save. Oh well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't really know why, but for some reason it always doesn't. I haven't actually figured out why it does that. But that's what people have been finding, that they just
so
to do.
Who are we going to be watching for this this fourth?
Well, there's a finals,
yeah,
which is Luca versus Bailite, so probably gonna watch that one.
So this is actually interesting. Like usually, I kind of actually haven't really sort of mono red or like other aggro deck. I kind of like it because Bailite is playing. Well, Abzan midrange would usually be quite great against aggro. Bailite is playing a list that's significantly more grindy and greedy and has a better time against, say, other midrange decks. So that leaves the room you have as an aggressive deck significantly bigger. However, Lucas being a free colored list, that means he's playing more. Usually, you play more higher curve than say a red deck usually tend to do. I imagine you play more like if we see cards like Dreadbore that just don't do damage. They just like you play more cards that are just like removal spells and answers and such usually in those type of lists. That's at least what we've seen because I'm from Blahguy as well.
I think we'll see. If the game goes long, I mean, Bailite's going to be pretty highly favored, in my opinion. Their deck's designed to go into the long game. I mean, they're playing, 13 mana Emrakul.
I think we see, I think we see few people beat them in late game outside combo.
Fast mana, pressure, and disruption is really what I'm going for. If I'm on Luca's side in this match.
Mana, Bailite with the double box hand.
Hand here.
And a Mire Triton. Mire Triton, P good, especially with Savine's Reclamation on the far right-hand side of their hand.
I am
and
curious about what you keep. Like, this is a mulligan from Bailite. What card did we bottom here? We keep probably both the boxes and the...
I probably bottom the Scrubland.
Yeah, regular Scrub are like the two I'm looking at.
No, you don't bottom the wreck because you got Mire Triton, which can
you
set
have
up
a Mire Triton that can just like give you some 6 points.
And if Luca could share his hand real quick, that would be awesome.
I'm curious to see what you do in turn 1 actually.
If they want the real next level play, you go ahead and Gerard's Verdict yourself, so you get the set wreck in the bin and get a 2-for-1 off right away.
Oh, that's just sad.
that's like.
And that's also very incorrect in this situation.
It's a power move right there.
I'm not afraid of you.
My hand is so good, I can pitch 3 cards right now.
That's actually a pretty solid hand from a bit heavy on the mana, I'll admit.
Yeah.
This is the thing once again, like I really don't like
playing
3 colors, playing too many cards.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, I mean, like, the formats, if you're playing just to be technically correct, I mean, like, the right thing to generally do is play Black Lotuses and Goblin Guides, like,
I'm with you there. Like, I'm not gonna blame playing something off, but if someone plays something that's off in a bad way, then I'm gonna go like, maybe you should reconsider just change it a bit if you can. Like,
maybe you should.
Are you playing the pain lands? You should probably be looking at the pain lands. Like, those are great. I'd honestly also play the check lands.
Yeah,
those are fine.
I haven't looked at their deck list. So that is a Midnight Reaper is pretty good in this style of matchup. It's also going to give additional blockers for the Karazev, which is interesting. Obviously, you don't really want to see.
I could have gone to really, sadly.
You you really don't want to see your opponent on their slower, kind of more controlling build of the Abzan have 2 Moxes.
I do like the Copter here. That's pretty good against the Maya Triton. The Carousel also pretty great against the Maya Triton.
Yeah, I think I would just dev out the Smuggler's Copter this turn. And
the next turn you can have the carry.
Yeah, I may just attack and trade with the Myers right in here just to get it off the board.
Yeah. I presume you just play Windswept Thief here because you don't want to be taking some bait for no good reason. And the Castle Ardenvale is tapped. Another reason why I don't love the Castle Ardenvale is it can just end up tapped and the team just don't need it to.
Yeah, no, in these decks I don't tend to like the castles. I think in general
no,
they just...
I think in an aggressive deck, even like in general, I think if you're more than 2 colors, you have to be very considerate of when you play the castles. Even 2 colors in aggro, it can be arguable if you should or shouldn't, depending on a specific list.
Yeah, if they're going to come into play tapped, you don't really want them. Like, if they're coming to play untapped, it's okay-ish, but, you know, it's still obviously...
like if you play the, whatever, the legendary castles, not legendary castles, the ones from, what are they called? The Kamikawa block lands, the ones that are legendary.
That one's not a good one to see. That's a Liliana of the Last Hope.
That could very well be the last bit of hope that Lucas has.
I honestly think you don't cast it this turn. I think you. I think what I like doing is getting a fetch land back with the Savine's Reclamation and just casting.
Yeah, and then casting the verdict.
Yeah, because you can cast Liliana later and it's going to deal with this this Dread Wanderer, or it's going to at least get it off the board for then.
The only reason, the reason I kinda don't, you can argue for and against the Liliana here. The advantage of playing the Liliana now is that your opponent specifically has to play a card to activate the Copter, which probably gonna happen. But if you play it later, it's gonna give your opponent. I don't like getting this Reaper quite yet. I agree with you. I like getting this Eve here and just getting my.
Yeah. I like knocking the resources apart. It also sets up the flashback on the Savine's Reclamation to get the Reaper later on.
You have a double Savine. That said, I think it's fine even if you did have the Savine's next turn for the after Heath. I think it could be fine when.
Yeah, Gerard's Versus card is going to lose value pretty rapidly.
I'm curious. I'm going to see the pop here. I do like seeing pop here. Yeah, we are. You're going to see the Copter. Please swing in. Likely gonna throw away the castle unless we see something.
Yep, get some decent damage in. And honestly, I mean, despite the fact that the Wanderer is gonna die here more than likely, this Kari Zev, or not Kari Zev, this Judith, the Scourge Diva.
Never mind. I think this Hellrider is gonna break up. Actually, I would probably.
Hellrider's gonna eat the bin, or the land will hit the bin.
Yeah,
the land or the Hellrider hit. The Judith you keep there.
I just don't feel like you need the Hellriders. To be fair, I think this with the content play you could make an argument getting.
I think if you Judith here and then Hellrider the turn following, you could just straight up win.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. It definitely is helped by the fact that you can just Copter as well.
Yeah. So we are going to see the Wanderer go bye this turn. We're going to see the hand. The hand's going to go bye-bye. That makes sense.
Yeah, I actually quite like that a lot more.
Yeah,
like, this is a time where I guess the best is when you get the last 2 cards, because that's usually the most important ones.
Yeah, I just felt like this line was a little more greedy than trying to
definitely is.
Do it a turn earlier. Yeah, I feel like it can go wrong a lot more.
In this situation, I think it ended up being correct.
It lined up. Yeah.
Yeah. But if say you had a turn free drop.
Yeah, or if they
that
just
would have been like
if they just won
threat.
Yeah. If they just won threat last turn.
That was actually a pretty solid draw. Yeah, it's a bit awkward against the Maya Triton, so it can kill Bailite, but it's a fine card. It's going to put on pressure and it's going to have to be dealt with, and that's what you want.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think we just attack with Copter here, and we presumably loot. I know that people have this thought because it feels bad, and I get that. That's one of the things you have to realize. Like, the intuition is from a human perspective that milling yourself with discarding, like drawing a kind of discarding card, is always going to feel bad because what if I drew that one card I want to draw later? Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the human intuition. Like, it doesn't logically make sense.
Oh, I would totally mill here. Yeah, I mean, I almost to a fault. I'll mill. I mean, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's not what you want to mill. But I mean,
and Lucas is the type of person who knows this. Like, I think anyone here who's playing today are people who have played enough Magic to know that you should, unless you have a very specific reason in your deck, what I'm
curious about is why we didn't send in with the Karis here.
Yeah, I mean, do you read? What do you
I guess you're at 12, but I mean, like, I don't know. To me, I think that's fine.
Like, you're taking 2 from a Maya Tribe?
Yeah.
Are you scared of the Serene Reclamation getting back?
You're not gonna block
Spell Bomb and a Wayfinder? Like, is this what you're afraid of?
You're not blocking a Maya Triton, right? So it's like, who cares?
No, exactly. And like next turn, admittedly, you don't have a great turn. But you could have a great turn. Because you could have had a 1/1.
If you really wanted to block the Maya Triton, you just leave Karizev back, and you tap the Brahms because it has first strike and menace, right? So it can crank out the Maya Triton effectively. So
I couldn't even see, depending on like what the hits here, I could see an argument for just giving the Brahms back.
Yeah. I think here we're just going to see Liliana get played down
really
tick.
would love to see, yeah, absolutely.
I like a down tick, and honestly, I'm not opposed to picking get back the Gonti. Yeah, it's possible, or I could see doing that, or I could honestly see taking back the Satyr Wayfinder to really set up the Savine's Reclamation. That's the greedy line of play.
Bailite.
The Gonti's, I think, the correct play, but I think the greediest line is possibly taking back the Satyr Wayfinder and trying to set up like a really good Sevrek. I mean, it's not a bad Sevrek right now.
I suppose. Yeah. I'm curious here, like, what do you do with a Gonti here? Do you just... I'm presuming it's as strange as it sounds, maybe it's just Brahms.
No, I tapped the Karis before the Brahms.
If you kill the Maya Triton here, of course you tap the Karis because, like, that's just less damage and doesn't really turn.
Yeah.
But I think there's an argument that if you didn't want to kill the Maya Triton first, and if you want to see if you could hit something even better.
No, they evidently don't want to attack with the Smugglers. I guess it's the same amount of damage.
Yeah, but it does loot. I guess you play around with Moose,
yeah.
The one and loot is
most of the builds that I run Smugglers.
Actually, no, I think there's an argument for this. I don't think it's this match. But if you knew your opponent might play a haster for some reason, having the ability to activate a counter in the block might be. But in this matchup, I guess Bailite might play like a Vengevine.
They play Vengevine and probably Questing Beast. Are probably the two.
Questing Beast, true. I don't think it's Trump like a Questing Beast. You might trade with a Vengevine. Might.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not. They're a very low life total. I'd let them attack if they're going to attack me with it. I mean, if they draw a Vengevine, they're probably blocking with it. So we're going to see Gonti do its thing here. I mean, they might Sevrek, and they get 2 creatures with Sevrek. They can get a Liliana.
Liliana, and I presume either the Spellbomb, which kind of kills the Dread Wanderer, which isn't bad. Or you can say...
I think you Gonti this turn.
I don't think you need to land right now.
I think you Gonti this turn. You want to get a Death Toucher that can possibly find her.
Like the Liliana is fine on the board, but it's just not as great as the Gonti just holding back so much stuff.
Yeah, it holds back the Brahms at a minimum and hopefully finds your removal spell for something else. We'll see. Got a Braid would be nice.
It's not guaranteed to hold back the Brahms because like Brahms can be.
That's
we have 6 points. Even if you block the Brahms, that's still 7.
It's actually kind of a rough hit. You don't really want to get sword there. You wanted removal.
This is actually 7 points on board, even when you block the Brahms. Because you activate using the Cat Soldier. And you swing it with all. You make a cat token. You make a monkey token. I believe that was already detected. No, that's 7 points of damage.
Yeah, so they don't want to fetch here.
No. Yeah, if they fetch, this is game over. Assuming that Lucas of course sees the blind.
Yeah, or if they draw like a removal spell.
Yeah, you definitely just equip the counter and just attack.
Yeah, Well, you also leave that card in hand, so you can discard it and try to find Lightning Bolt or Path to
Like,
Exile.
that's literally a tough one. These are the kind of cards I really like because these are the great reasons. No, don't cast it. Don't cast. It even enters the battlefield tap. Thank you. I thought you were going to cast it. It just looked like just a lot of hand. Just go.
They do.
No.
If they do, they do.
Yeah.
I try not to lose my mind on that kind of stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, sometimes folks do that.
The pride of the entirety of Denmark is at the stake here.
Yeah, like Danish aggro planet, I'm just gonna be like, oh no, why are you playing counterpick? Oh no.
Oh,
this pack.
That's exactly what you needed. It is lethal. Yep.
You could play around the one card your opponent has.
Yep, that's lethal.
I just like getting the kill in here.
As long as your stops are set.
Even if they have like I don't know spell here, you still just gotta buy like a creature and have so much damage on board. Like
yeah, no, I mean it's a pretty good one to hit. That's exactly the one I was like. That one or Lightning Bolt were pretty good to hit.
Oh, this is what I'm saying. Like I'm actually just playing 2 or 3 colors. When the mana works, it's really big. Like I really like that's definitely powerful.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if there was a difference between like the Liliana line and getting the 3/2 into play line.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like there was definitely a couple of lines from Bailite side where like there were definitely a lot of options. I'm not sure I'd love to -2 on the Liliana there.
I actually like that. I actually like that line. I think that part of it. I like that part of play. I liked playing the Liliana before the.
What do you feel on the Liliana turn? Remind me, you played Liliana. What could you have done other than that turn? That's what I remember.
You can shrink down a creature, so you take less damage, but you don't really have much more that's board impacting. Yeah. So you kind of need to get the Gonti to be board impacting.
I almost played on that turn.
Baylite's got a great hand. Luca less so. It's going back.
I'm curious about that John Barrowmans in Lucas's deck. Even honestly the recruiter as well.
They had 2 spells in hand. This hand's more acceptable. That is what is that? Heroic Reinforcements? That's a hell of a magic card right there.
Yeah, that is one of the cards that made me consider looking at like a red white.
I think in this hand though, I guess you have to pitch back the black cards. You don't have black mana. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah,
the mana's awkward.
This is one of the few hands we go play, yay, Mux. Play, yay, Mux.
Yep.
This is the thing about the mana base.
Well, from looking at some of the cards they've drawn and just over the course of these games, like Luca's running a lot of removal. Like that's a cast down, which is like pretty deep in removal.
Absolutely.
Pretty.
And they're also just running a lot of 4-drops. Like.
No. I think we'll probably
Heroic Reinforcements, Hello Rider, Hero of I was going to say Oxford, Hero of the Blade Hole. I feel like we've seen one more at least. Well, I might be wrong on that one. Like. Yeah. I think we should definitely play higher than the RD 3 4-drops is correct. I actually think that's a pretty good point. Like 3 plus 4-drops is fine. Like this Magic Show. So I think you want to be playing a slightly higher. Yeah,
no, Shiner. I don't tend to think that card's the best removal. So it's 2-mana removal, but like, yeah, it's got some issues. Especially when you have Heartless Act in a format. Like Heartless Act's pretty good.
Yeah, like there's definitely formats where Heartless Act is worse. Like if you have a format where
well, Eliminate's very powerful now too. Like that's a very powerful Magic card in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the best one. Like yeah, sure, this costs a ton of shit, but like especially in an aggro deck.
No, we might see. I think I would probably just sequence out the castle this turn and not look to play a creature, and look to try to snipe this Skull Clan.
Yeah, I like that. That's just haha, Bailite. I was the one with the Skull Clan all along.
Yeah, maybe to some extent. I mean, it's Shiner. It's a 2-mana removal spell, but you have a lot of competitors at 2 mana.
I'm sure
removal.
Bailite playing Nature's Law Skull Clan. I presume so. I could see the verdict as well.
I think I would probably ramp this turn.
I'm with you there.
Personally.
Yeah, I would see Lord Forest.
Look to build up my mana base. You can still play the Clamp out this turn and put it on board.
Sort of green-black forest, I presume. Like Bayou. Okay.
No, I think Shiner, when you start looking at black removal, like cast down's really deep in the format, unless you're on like mono black, like where it may make sense. Like if you have access to Abrupt Decay Assassin's Trophy, like in your black green, like you're gonna play those before pretty much most any mono black removal spells. Eliminate has an argument to it because of the fact that it can deal with a lot of the problematic planeswalkers that are in the format now.
Yeah, even
It's
more
basically bad
flexible.
Abrupt Decay, right? Like that's kind of the reason
Yeah,
for
it's-
eliminate.
it's-
It does
it's
a
more
good
like-
enough Abrupt Decay impression.
You mean better Vindicate? Yeah, I guess. I mean, like you just have Maelstrom Pulse. It's probably what more directly compares to like blowing up. That's not anything we get to do anymore.
Back in my days, we complained about blue.
Yeah. All right, people always complain of Magic. It's about something different. I guess people hate green now. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Green did
People
have
complain
a,
about blue, powerful, green being too powerful, white being too
Green-
weak. I think people used to complain about black being too weak in some formats. I think.
well, I think
Commander
green's always was the sick man. Whenever I was younger, like everyone complained green sucked, and it wasn't the best. I mean, like it was better when it played like Meyer Boas and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like outside of like specific singular formats.
Yeah, but I think green hasn't been the worst color in Magic for like a while at this point.
Yeah, it's been a
So-
hot minute. They had a lot of good cards.
I think
Yeah.
somewhere around when we start entering the modern era, is not necessarily when green became the best. Like definitely not around Battlefield.
What do you all like doing here? I kind of like getting rid of the 2 threats actually and keeping the cast down. Personally.
Yeah, I don't like the heroic and reinforcement here. I just as a card choice in this deck, I don't love your hand. Like,
It's a hard thing to kill. If you want a sack outlet, if you have like a small Kratz sub theme, I haven't seen a massive Kratz sub theme, but maybe they've got some of that.
I have it either. It feels more like it's a go white token sort of deck, like with a lot,
Yeah. Well,
which makes me really confused about like the Jehani. Sure, you can sack a creature, but like, why not just run around and do something else? One 4-drop I would probably like. As much as I love it, I think I like
you like what?
heroic and reinforcements. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good enough, honestly.
Yeah, it needed to be 1 less mana in this format.
Yeah, the forward, yeah. Like I think it's a great design card. Just a clean, solid design that I'm happy with. Like just make some creatures and then pump them. I like it. Solid design space for like limited and standard. And maybe like 10 years or something. But I think for this format, like it had to be 3 mana. 3 mana would be quite nice with some sort of red white.
Bailite's hand's kind of insular, and what I mean by that is it's all critters. It doesn't have a ton of like range and utility, which is
Like,
kind of awkward for them.
Here's the thing, Goblin Rapidmaster, nobody doesn't give you a lot of options to Skull Clamp on itself. On its tokens.
Yeah, the clamp does make it a bit awkward. for sure.
Shit, not a bad draw. Urborg, less interesting. I'm
Titania's pretty
curious. With the Moxie in hand, I don't know why we tapped like we did. Why not leave the Mire, the filter land open when you had the Mox jet?
I think
I
I think their plan had been to play the Myrids right now, and now they're gonna have to reconsider that because their top card's a very good one to draw.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a bad one.
Even the reason I was just thinking, like, unless you want to, like,
No, 100%.
white top deck, I suppose.
The tap job could have been better, for sure. You could have left
Like,
yourself.
honestly, honestly, I think I'd even like in this situation, I'd have the scavenging down. Like, I'm not afraid of the Rebel Master. I'm not afraid of the. What is why I tried and do here? Like, 2-1 gains me some life. I'm not scared of dying. I'm not needing to build myself.
Not a bad draw,
like
though, for their next turn. If they're going to be getting access to Recruiter of Guard, it's pretty good.
Here's my take. I just played Bloodstone.
You play what?
I just start playing a Bloodstone champion and trying to draw some cards here.
I'd like my land draw for the turn. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's like this is a strange situation where you might act as an
I
acrobat.
mean, at a minimum, you could equip up this Goblin Rabble Master with the clamp, swinging with both. You probably catch a block on the Rabble Master.
Yeah.
You know, they may pass
And on
another
this
damage, then you still hit your land anyways, and you know, We'll see.
They probably block like the token of the stone forward.
I do like how Bailite's kind of slowly built equity in the scavenging use. Though scavenging use is one of those cards. If you can play it late, like you tend to be very happy to do so.
Yeah.
We'll
Like
see
now,
less...
like now you still aren't at the point where you we had an on-tap red mana from Lucas where you can play around the around the bowl, but we're nearing that area.
Yeah.
Why would you block the Goblin? And again, this is a prize of playing it. I'm gonna keep mentioning it because as much as I love, I wanted to make some free color beat down Acrotex. I've been considering it. This is a situation going on.
This is a matchup where Jailer could be more risky, right? I mean, like right now, you know they're missing on mana.
Yeah.
So you know their hands chock full of stuff. And if they had a hasty
evader, I am not huge in Jailer here. I'm perfectly fine getting a E-Wid or...
Yeah, you would be fine. Blow up a clamp, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, I forgot you can kill the clamp.
Yeah, blowing up clamps
like,
pretty good.
Why would it gain 4 life? Oh, clamp. Right.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely blow the clamp up. The life total is not going to be that relevant. I think this one's going to now... At this point, it's pretty turned, I think.
Yeah, I think that took care of like the one real event as Lucas in this situation here.
Well,
here, not really a change.
I mean,
I think it's good.
Yeah, it makes their thing huge. It makes their goblin their thing.
Still playing like a slow curve. Your opponent's got like ooze coming down next turn. You don't know that, but like you're sitting in a bit of an awkward situation here. I don't like playing the bolt now. Like, what are you trying to do?
I.
You're gonna get a 2-1 or 1-2. Like, do they already play that equipment with us? Are you skeleton top taking a battle score at this point?
Well, they want their.
Oh, you want that scary one to get in there.
I mean, they're playing to. I think that's honestly a play to win here. I mean, like I think I would, like if they have nothing in hand, like maybe this puts you in a better spot. But I do think if you're gonna look at the game state that way, you definitely want to clamp up the Rabble Master last turn and try to pass more damage because that's an attack line. That's a gameplay that is looking to build less value in your cards and build more equity in your tempo and just ending the game. Yeah. Which wasn't really consistent with some of their lines of play earlier.
I think the fact that this whole camp got killed here is why they went, fuck it, I can't win this grind plan anymore. And I figured I could mind with people's be winning on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, Wolfgang. That's kind of what I thought too. Is I think you leave your 2-1 in play. You don't clamp it up pre-combat. You just attack with your Rabble Master clamped up as a 3-1, your 2-1, and your 1-1. You pass a little bit of damage, probably on the 2-1 and the 1-1. Trade off the Rabs and get your draw.
I don't think they trade with the Rabble Master. Actually, I think they trade with their Maya Tribe for your Rabble Master and then block the 1-1 token with.
Oh, you don't think they just let the Rabble Master go through as a 3-1?
No, I think they did, but I think they kill it with the Maya Tribe instead.
Sure. I mean, either way, I think I like that line if you're going to try to tempo them out because it passes a lot more damage. And it also is based upon them, like, just not having much, right? You're assuming they don't have much. That Ooze is trouble. Ooze is definitely trouble. It's going to be a big boy. At a minimum, can you force a favorable block with this Menache critter? I mean, we know you can't because Tainted Pack can find 1-mana removal to kill it, but...
If I remember correctly, I think we've seen actually a Bailite might actually have like 2 swarms in that deck, like basic swarms. Like that's not like such a big deal that you can't still play it.
Oh, they are on multiple copies of the same card with Tainted Pack.
I believe they have 2 forests.
Yeah.
2 forests. Okay.
2 basic forests.
Yeah. I mean, that's been what they have had in their
historical.
Yeah. This is apparently a new deck, although we have seen no proof that has
no,
been...
they never said they were playing the new deck.
Just say they made a new deck.
I still want to know what the new deck is. And this is it, then Bailite.
they just change like 5 cards in their usual reserves.
Yes.
Feeling like a
What do you
pretty impossible spot here. They can find the
Yeah.
best card in their deck.
Yep.
So, what is the best card in their deck, or at least the first
Like-
one they're willing to settle on?
The question is, can Bailite get like a really strong position here? The question is,
I
does
mean,
Luke have any way of breaking
with the
besides,
deck,
like Belt here, I guess.
with the deck they're on, at the life total they're at, in the matchup that they're in, it's not going to take much. Like it's like Titania do it, Palace Jailer would be great, Gideon Ally of Zendikar be great.
Play that one. I don't know.
Hell, a removal spell be fine.
Like I have Tyler's tracker ain't bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, like it's you just got to lean on them at this point, and they're going to fall over eventually because they're not going to keep up on cards.
This is just the winning show that is Team the Path.
Yep.
Like, here's a question though, man. Like, you see a card early, will you take that OK card and just go card? Or do you go, I can get greedier and I can...
Yeah, this is a fine one to
greedy
get.
do you get?
Me,
Yeah, sounds good.
not that greedy. Like I when I look at this matchup, like I'm not looking to like just like ranch them now. I'm just looking to lean on them. Just lean on them, and
Yeah.
eventually they're gonna fall over. Like you don't need to go high variance with it. Just an obstinate Bailoff would probably be good enough. It's like what are they gonna do against it? You got news. You got this treetop village. You can start racing here relatively soon, like right now. Yeah, it's a tough spot. And you're at a high enough life total that like there's not many outs they can draw to it right at this point. Like the clamp is gone. The clamp was probably one of their better ways of like grinding through this and maybe finding enough burn to seal the deal. But it's going to be a matter of cards.
I ground people out on more tech, which is infamously not a grindy deck. Just by score clamping people. Like, usually that stakes like D&T and such. Bailite is a significant bit harder to outgrind. If you're trying to do that, you're going to have a tough time usually.
Yeah, I think there's probably more of an
Yeah,
argument to skull clamp and death and taxes in modern times with access to cards like Savine's Wreck and Loris, where you can actually like recurse those things that you use to turn into cards. It's obviously a much slower kind of card engine card. Like you don't really want to see skull clamp versus decks like Storm, or like even red deck wins. Like it's actually a card that I was talking to Wolfgang about, and we were talking about the red deck wins kind of thing, like the issue with like how it's good and why it's good, and how you would go about managing it. And that was one of the cards they were like, yeah, Skull Clamp could be a point to kind of limit some of the upward mobility of red in the
I'll be
format.
honest with you here. I'm not sure. Like, what type of removal you would if you do? Like, what type of removal cards do you want to be playing? Do you want to be playing in the Mardu aggro deck?
What kind of removal spells I want to run in what? In my aggro decks?
Mardu aggro deck.
Oh, in my aggro decks, ones that can kill people and also kill creatures.
So you're like when you gone through all the good burns, all your lightning bolts and chain lightnings. What are like your next priorities? I presume things like a braid or flexible is still good.
I honestly think Searing Spear and Searing Blaze are underplayed. In this meta especially, I think those cards are underplayed. I think some of you play them, like some folks who are like red deck wins aficionados, but folks who pick up the deck don't often tend to, because like if you go and look at like a block or a set deck that like I've got on my like tap down or whatever, those cards probably aren't in there, but like in this metagame, they're fucking great.
Wait,
man.
Are you going to keep a Searing Blood?
Wait. I don't think I've ever seen a person play.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You said what?
I don't think I've seen a person play red deck wins play Lightning Strike, Searing Spear. Those cards are
Oh, no. I play those. I think everyone plays those red deck wins.
I agree with you beyond mono red.
No, I'm saying.
I think you said Searing Spear and you meant Searing Blood.
Yeah, I meant Searing Blood, Searing Blaze. I think I said Blaze. Yeah. Like, no. Those cards are.
You said Searing Blaze. You said Searing Blaze and Searing Spear, and I think that the second card you meant was Searing Blood.
All right. Yeah.
You meant the like searing effect that they play in modern burn sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes. I am currently. I don't think I'm currently. I haven't played. Except sort of bit of.
Yeah,
I think Searing Blaze is awesome. Searing Blood,
Yeah.
maybe it's a little.
Searing Blaze is just expensive.
Well, it's more of a meta call, right? I mean, like these kind of removable spells in this metagame would be great.
I'd be happy to play Searing Blood. I mean, it's fine.
Well, like, look at this matchup, for instance. Like, you have a card, and they're both instants. So, I mean, like, you have a card like Mired Triton in play. Like,
I agree. It's definitely a meta call, and I think it's a meta.
Yeah. Where you can do it.
Like, it's basically... If you're not against, like, Paradox Academy, you probably have a time. And even then, there are technically a card, so you might see.
Yeah, but yeah, no, at the end of the day, like, you're asking a question, like, theoretically speaking, like, what kind of removal spells do I want to play in my aggressive decks? I want to play ones that either can kill my opponent and kill creatures, or at the same time as killing my opponent, kill their creatures. You know? Like, I want them to have immediate board impact or have high impact on someone's life total. You know?
We have the odd person who brings a white-blue deck with few creatures, and even then, they may play, like, all of their Indigenous Leagues and such in there. Stone Fortress even at times. So.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I talk crap on cards like Lightning Spike or Lava Spike. Like, the card's a lot of damage, but like you really have to have a lot of that to have it go. Like, if there's any sort of disruption, like any incremental life gain, like it's really bad at that point. Like as soon as they play on a Mired Triton or like a Moment of Craving or whatever, you know, Vraska's Contempt, you know, just any random incidental life gain, like that card just falls off so quick to me. And I'm like, oof. And like, I don't know. I just, you know, I think playing Burn like that is fairly tough. I think you need to have a board-based plan for it. But you know, you play a lot of it, right? So
yeah, no, I'm with you. Lava Spike is the kind of card.
I mean, it's powerful.
Academy. Like this is the kind of card where I'm like, if I'm just trying to go faster than someone, I'll play a Lava Spike. But if I'm expecting people to play D&T mid-range decks and such, which especially mid-range is not what we're seeing as a, but if you expect people who will outrace you or just actively just try and stop you and not just kill you, like a Storm or combo deck,
yeah,
then you should probably be taking a look at culling that Lava Rift from your deck and maybe putting in honestly any shock.
Sure. Ever. Yeah. No, Shiner. I mean, like, yeah, in general, like, you don't want to play a lot of triple or double pip cards in 3-color. I'm not saying play Searing Blood and Searing Blaze in Mardu aggro. I'm saying more just general aggressive cards or aggressive decks, red-based aggressive decks. One splash of minor color. Like, I think those cards.
I don't think I'm playing like Searing Blood, Searing Blaze outside of literally at all.
No, they wouldn't be. They would definitely not be stock.
No, I agree with you. Like the cards that like punish the low, not necessarily aggressive decks, notably, but like cheap creatures, like even like the ETB value creatures decks like Pod and such. Mm-hmm. Like we see Bailite has so many like mana dorks. Like those are like seen all the time.
Yeah, mana dorks, Luruses. I mean, even if you want to, you know, basically kind of like. Bait the pain of a 2-for-1.
Turn 1 drop, turn 2. Your opponent's 1 drop is like mana dork. You go turn 2, Searing Blood, attack you. You're at 15 on turn 2. I killed your 1 drop. Yeah. You now can't wrap the 3 drop you were planning on. Like
yeah, it's pretty rough.
And you see the problem with going like alright, turn 2.
But again, it's one of those family of cards that, like, you know, again, like, you know, there's a reason that like Arc Trail sees more play in red deck wins than those style of cards do, because they're more binary, right? They require a certain thing to be true, and if your opponent's not doing that, you know, that's why Smash is some of the reasons to see a lot of play. It's like you know, it's very binary. Like when it's good, it's great. When it doesn't do it, when it doesn't, and its other mode is I do nothing, right? Like it's like I just sit here.
I feel like Arc Trail. I think Arc Trail is usually more simple than say like Searing Blood, because like at least Searing Blood is like they don't have a creature, you can't literally.
Yeah, you can't cast it. That's why it's binary.
The scenario for an Arc Trail is you shoot yourself for 1 and your opponent for 2.
No, that's honestly. That's fine.
What it can win.
Well, yeah, if it's the last thing you're doing, generally it's winning. It's fine. You know, it's not the best, but it happens, and probably more than you think. You know, and it's fine. You know, you're just like, whatever.
Like,
yeah, Renegade Rallier is a really cool card. Shiner brings up Renegade Rallier. I haven't seen it in a while. I actually was considering it an Abzan mid-range lands build.
And especially like once you go like 3+ colors, you have so many fetches, so you have 9 or 10 at that point.
Yeah, and you got Prismatic Vista now, so you got basically what, like 9.
Oh, yeah, Wist as well. If you have any wasteland effects, those are pretty sick as well.
You know, we may be able to convince Bailite to run Crows and Verge. if there was a player to do it, I bet you I'd get Bailite to do it. Bailite under Crows and Verge. You know what card I actually really like for a while? Crows and Verge is it gets 2 lands. It's a pay 2. Tap it. Forest up lanes. It's a Myriad landscape that's more specified. But actually, it's better. It's better than Myriad. In the deck that can run it, it's the Myriad landscape.
And then untapped as well, I think. No tapped.
Well, Myriad landscape is actually pickier in a way because you can only get 2 lands of the same type, right?
And they have to be basic.
Yeah, I'm talking to Shiner. He's like, I've played it in like big blue-white control in a slower meta. I've played it. It's fine. Like, it's not great, but it's slow, but it's 2 for 1.
I'm gonna like the landscape. The only place where I see an argument for landscape perhaps over it is if you play like a very monocolored deck. And
monocolored deck?
It's some like very heavy, say, green deck that wants to play for some reason.
You play it like mono black control.
Maybe like I don't know, like Valakut deck, perhaps.
I don't know if I like it. Mana Crypt deck because it's very slow and
Valakut deck.
Sure,
but you just get 2 mountains and just give you, or 2 forests if you need that, right?
Sure, you could. I mean, it's slow, right? Like I tend to want to play
it
less color intensive decks. Like I don't mind it in like mono black control, like big red. It's okay in like blue splash white. All right, so Bailite took this one.
That's a great example.
Is that only game 2 or is that the match?
I think
that's the match. All right, yeah. No, I thought it was the match.
Yeah, then the score's just a bit off. Yeah, that makes sense. We just see Bailite win.
Yeah, Bailite won this one. I think they lost the first one. I think it was the second game.
I think that was the second game. I think that they're just making a match for clock.
I didn't see that.
Okay. That's true. They were down to 1 minute. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
Bailite has never gone on long.
No.
Sarcasm.
This is a great hand on Luca's side.
Yeah, this is what you want your hand to look like. As this, the one thing that's not great about it is the fact that you have black sauce and spells.
You have what?
You have 1 black sauce with a hand which has only black spells. Bit awkward.
Nah, it's fine. Yeah, you 100% keep. This is Dark Confidant hand. If they don't have turn 1 removal, it's gonna at least draw probably 1 to 2 cards. Like we see it go.
Lucas on the play, that makes his hand even better.
Oh yeah, that's a good hand. Like I like it quite a bit.
Dark Confidant can draw so many cards.
It's probably only going to see 1. It'll probably go for the throw, but that takes a big turn.
Like, what do you thoughts on like Lurus and like?
What do you what?
Lurus and Bailite's list.
I think Lurus is fairly free. Like the card's just great value. I played it in quite a few lists, like Death and Taxes, like Abzan. I've never been really upset to play it. Like even if I'm just getting back a mana dork or an Elvish Reclaimer or a Deathrite Shaman, like that's a free card. Like, and you're still getting a relatively relevant body that lifelinks. You know, it dies to a lot, but like if you're getting value off it immediately, it's more. You have to treat the card more as a 4 or 5 drop. You know, in general. But in my opinion, because you don't want to just run it out and get a kill right away. Yeah. You want to like run it out, and if it dies, it dies, but it gets something back. So it's like it was kind of a regrowth plus a discard spell.
And if you have like a walking ballista, like something that can just use time upon time again, or like even like something that you like Wayfinder, that's ways to get more cards into your.
Yeah, no, Shiner. If they manage to like hit like a Collective Brutality, this game could be over pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that'd be rough. My guess is Bailite's not going to lead off on hand attack. They're probably going to lead off on a mana dork. They're getting rid of the Lurus, which seems sensible. Their hand's not really set up to really exploit it yet. It's a late game card. Or it's a mid to late game card.
Which card is it referring to here for reference?
Well, I'm just saying Luris is not the best like opening game card. It's more of a mid to late game card. Like you'd rather.
We do have the side switch, by the way, the cams.
Yes.
Due to the fact that
It's a little awkward, but it's fine.
I am sorry to say so, Red Mage.
I was like, these are.
I blame the players because they switched like in
I mean,
game
I blame
one
them too.
like they changed who started the game, right? In game one, Luca was at the bottom, so like
Okay,
Luca's
this
hands
is
is
a-
still at the bottom,
pretty-
just that Luca's not
It's
at the bottom.
bad, like, it's a bit awkward. But like the Ancient Tomb isn't that great, like right. We already have a mod. We don't need the extra.
Ancient
Actually,
Tomb.
I don't actually like Ancient Tomb in his list.
No, I don't tend to
Okay.
like it 3-color decks generally. Like
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
stretch it in 2-color decks, but like
If you have like a 3-color list that goes like real high, like play like 6 drops, sure thing. I can live with it.
or if you're like splashing the 2 other colors and like you're very
Yeah,
heavy in, like R2 cards, you know.
Why? Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, or
But
if
if
you
you play,
also
like,
just have a lot of
full
colorless paths,
The
right? Like
color deck.
technically, Paradox Academy is a rag deck, but it's mostly a blue deck that's splashing green and red. Like,
Like thing is here, you can't even play like and something else this turn.
I kind of like just jamming out this 2-1 just because you're gonna try to push damage here.
Yeah. Like just like you're playing the
Yeah, if they had a
Yeah.
Mox, they would have played the Mox. They're not gonna hold it.
Really
It's-
control on like the path of like Lucas here would be just any 2-drop here. Because then slam 2-drop, slam reinforcements, getcha.
I mean, from Luca's side, like you probably just want to hit a removal spell.
Come on, play the Inquisition, I dare you. Oh no!
You gotta do it. Well, they also know it's losing utility, so I don't mind this play, but it's like you're gonna look at their hand and be like, oof.
I mean, I think you knew the Ancient Tomb of the Dark. I believe. Or was it the Snowcall planes they had? It might have been the Snowcall.
What do you sequence out here? Is the Grim Flayer's not gonna be big enough to be a 4/4?
Yeah, you have 4 cards, so you have a 4.
You do. You have a 4/4. So it is instant sorcery, creature, and land.
That's the one outside of playing Inquisition. Yeah. That doesn't make a Grim Player into a pretty big deal. I guess
Now
these
this
creatures are-
only gives +1/+1, right?
Big Canyon is not what I was seeing here. Do we just heroic reinforcements and just go fuck it, kill them?
I don't know whether it's gonna go well enough, but maybe. I really don't like
doesn't
giving
really-
Bailite a hit.
Because you're not playing the Dread one either. But like,
There's an argument to waiting on it and playing out the draw land and seeing if you hit a removal spell, which would be very nice here. But because they're at
Yeah, I
17,
think
I mean,
just
like
putting-
you know,
like that Grim Play was definitely a big deal. Big creature come down there was really not like a 2/2 or
it's been around what 11, 10. Okay. Oh, that's a lot of life left, though. You know.
I just like playing the ooze here, eating up the Dread one.
Sure. Seems sensible.
Like your opponent's just flooded on lands, it seems. And has a couple smaller creatures that you can block.
The big question to me is: do you attack with the Grim Player? I think you do.
In your Armor's Call here, you have like, what are you planning on getting that's so good you're not gonna play as good? Oh, I guess if you attack with the player, that's fair. But why did you attack with your Grim Player? Your against an Aggro deck has a ton of mana. They can slap like a Hell Rider down here, get you for like.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You also got to win at some point, though. So they kept a Liliana. I think
Yeah, but I think like yeah, sure, your opponent has an Ancient. They don't need to activate it likely. Yeah, I do like discounting, so like for some reason playing Call here. Dreadball's nice. Dreadball's nice, not lovely, but nice.
That's actually kind of the card that like we talked about. Like you could have gone for the other line last turn to see if you hit removal. I
I'm
mean,
curious. Do you crack me some Big Canyon first? Just get one thing?
you do, in my opinion. But
And the question is, if you do so, do you activate the?
I think I would
Like-
tend. I think I would tend to actually use the Ancient Tomb to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm with you there. Like, there's some card you can draw that just make you go, thank God I did it. Such as this card called Darkly Daredevil.
And there's a go for the throat in the bin. Seems good.
Yeah, and you know what removing Go from the Throat almost did? It almost removed the Almost.
Well,
Doesn't that
you
be-
definitely
But there's
got
now
to.
Liana.
You definitely got to do it now, because you don't want the ooze to be able to eat their own card.
I just wish if you've been lucky and that this Liana hadn't go for remove the delirium as well, and then just and there's no way you don't just kill the ooze here, get in.
Yeah, you want to slay.
Punish them for getting aggressive here. Actually, that's what you're doing.
You're also probably gonna force them to stay on the back foot with this Grim Flare.
Yeah, exactly. Which means that having the red ball just becomes that bit better.
Yep.
Yeah.
My guess, I think they're drawing a Liliana next turn. I'm pretty sure. They left a Liliana on top.
The yard.
Oh, they did not.
If the Lily hadn't actually been in the yard,
it may be. They didn't bin the Lily, so I figured it was on top because I saw it.
Lily's in the yard. You can literally see the Liana as the second top card. Emrakul, Liana, the Veil. Unless you think of a different Liana.
You probably got to find Kitchen Finks here. Probably what you got.
I agree. Quite frankly, I agree.
Yeah, it's a necessity at this point. You don't like finding Kitchen Finks with creature tutors, but sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, like I could see an argument for getting like a. They blast the 1/1s. Deals well, and like if your opponent doesn't have a removal spell, you can get back Scrooge, you can get back Assault going for that route again.
What's their top draw here? Are they playing Hero Bladehold? That would be a pretty good one to hit. Just a big dumbass that makes everything else bigger. But Bailite's in the tank. I can't say I blame him. This is a rough spot to be in. It's definitely not a great spot.
It isn't over by any means. Like you're still in a situation where.
Yeah, but you're just kind of back on your heels, right? Like if they do have the removal spell, you know the card you left on top, Liliana's not coming to you anymore.
How many times do I have to repeat the fact that the Liliana?
I'm sorry. What are you saying about the Liliana?
It's in the graveyard.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I've said it like 4 times.
Oh, okay. But your audio is bad on my end. I don't know. Maybe it's tropical storm down here.
It could be like other ends as well.
I couldn't see it. Yeah, so too easy. If it's in there, it's in there. Then they didn't know their top deck. They pitched it. I thought they left it on top.
No, because if they hadn't actually put in the graveyard, that would have been a 2. I'm a bit surprised to see this attack.
It's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I actually quite like it. That's it. I also know the fact that
the Henny's expertise is pretty strong.
I didn't know about the Dread board. Yeah, the expertise is great. That's actually the best. I think the best argument for what should we call it? Be like pressuring Lucas here. That's fine. That's a fine argument. I just don't think you're gonna win the game by pressuring Lucas right now, because you're under bigger pressure. However, the fact that you get to like find something that stabilizes you further, I think it's a pretty big deal.
All right,
I was honestly thinking about getting the Lures here. Like, it definitely is. Like, getting Lures definitely gets gotten and removal.
Yeah, I mean,
like, that's just really grinding the game out. Course of Krufix could have done that, but I feel like that's too.
It's too slow.
I like that.
But like, getting the Lures stops their 1/1s, and if you hold back the Grim Flare, then that also stops the Dire Fleet and then unless they want to like, I don't know.
That also, you still Alpha Strike here, I think.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah. And the question is, do you kill?
I think Bailite's in a spot where, like, I don't think that land should have been played down first, but I think if they had not played the land down first, Bailite's in a spot where they're obliged to block one.
And the thing is, by attacking with everything, you leave your opponent with a choice. Do you block the 1? Do you block a 2/1?
What's what I'm saying? I think if you leave the land in hand, you make that decision a lot harder, and like you oblige them to block one of the 2 power attackers and trade off their Finks, which is obviously worse with the removal spell on top.
That is definitely the correct choice, but like the thing, especially because of the fact that if you block a 1/1, you die to a bolt. Perfect.
I agree. You can die at instant speed. You know, if they have multiple shock or bolt effects in hand.
So I think you block the Ember of Fear, assuming that's like with everything naturally.
Yeah, I think you still are probably. I mean, like, what gets you here? Like, Price of Progress, but that would almost.
I mean, Price is also almost suicidal.
No, you live by a point. Definitely kills them too.
Yeah, 1 is more than 0.
Yeah, you still live. It's a lot,
Pretty sure
but
you're right. I haven't checked yet, but I'll do the calculations to check if 2 is greater than 1.
I do think you just Dreadbore right away. I mean, it's obviously a sorcery, so you have to do it, but that makes sense.
You just want to stop them from. Yeah, I think you just.
Well, honestly, this is still anyone's game, right? I mean, you get an attack and you get him down to 7, which takes him off of 1 activation of Ancient Tomb. You know,
Spark off the top. No, Hell Spark. Lightning Skeleton off the top. Easy game.
I don't think there's any reason to save the fetch land. I think literally, like, deck thinning on this deck is probably the 0.01% or whatever it is that you get from it's probably worth doing here.
But is it though? I'm thinking if the 1 life is actually relevant.
What cards do they have that care about landfall? You know, I don't think there's any.
Probably.
Well, I think you just keep.
Oh, you mean or do you mean Luca?
I mean Luca, yeah. You definitely keep that one in hand.
Yeah, I do not believe Luca has anything.
Like if you're gonna have like 1 white source, I could see you killing it. Yeah, makes sense. They kept the Prince on top.
Yeah, they get to scry here. I assume this is a scry. I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah, like the fact that your opponent just passed with a card in hand means they preclude either like a removal or burn spell.
Yeah, which just finds you your next threat.
Yeah. Like you can gain 3 life, but you're not winning by gaining.
No, you don't care about the life total. I don't think it's if they have something that kills you from there, they do.
Like pressure on Lucas, depending on like what you draw here, what they do in that turn.
I think Bailite just wants a big threat, like a big green card,
like some Siege Rhinoceros of some sort.
Yeah, or Planeswalker, whatever. Well, you can cycle it.
Some sort of Rhinoceros of the Siege variety.
Yeah, more like a Garrick. Whatever.
One of those questions where you like look at that Ancient Tomb and like, should I?
Some sort of Beast of the Questing variety.
You're gonna be I'm trying to think if that was the correct
Boy of the Tarmo variety.
Ruby instead of the 5 planes there, because like now I think you should tap the Mox Ruby instead of the planes there.
The planes, yeah, in case you draw
Gideon, yeah. Brahms.
So Questing Beast or Vengevine would be pretty hilarious. That's a good one.
That is actually probably game.
Yeah, probably the best one to have found off Scry, probably right there. One of the better ones. I mean, Vengevine would have done it, but that's not a better card in the spot, theoretically speaking. Now, what would be funny is if they actually had the Helix. Like, Helix, gotcha. Get your land back, buddy.
But even then, you're still down. You're still at 2. Yeah, that's game. But that's not game. Technically not.
No, it's not. They have a block.
But it's like if you're selling to jump like a 5 for.
No, they're still actually not losing this. If they're OP, goes for an attack next turn, they probably should. They should attack because they don't want to put themselves to 3.
Come on.
So you blow this up. Yeah. If Bailite draws land and Luca draws
Lightning's Elemental.
Yeah, they can win. So they're not technically out.
If they draw Lava.
By this point, if they play, they definitely play the triple Mox. I'm curious what the last point is.
Tainted Pact. You know what it is. Tainted Pact because we've seen it.
Oh, we have seen Tainted Pact. I don't remember seeing that one. And
yeah, we talked. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. This was actually really interesting.
Grafted Warrior does not block the Idiot.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, Grafted Warrior not a creature.
Not a dude.
It's close to it's close to a hasty 3-power attacker, but
a hasty creature that but only if you have another creature, and if not, it can't attack a block.
Yeah.
That's what equipments are in a way, right?
Kind of.
Magnetic Theft. Let's go. Oh, Magnetic Thefted and then cut.
Yeah.
It still wouldn't have worked because then you can't unequip it. There is nothing else to equip it to.
No, I mean, I'm assuming it was another creature.
You equip it to yourself.
Zannty, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. If it did, that would be a very good Magic card. You just have permanent removal, like Wrath of God every turn.
Oh, God.
Be a really good Magic card. It'd be much better than it is.
I don't see any
Pretty good.
problem with that.
That feels like a. I mean, there are cards that can equip creatures, but then it's like a special effect. Yeah.
All right.
But dear, all that be busted.
This is the first time I showed up to my FN or my FNM, and you know, this game sucks. I just showed up and someone just like killed everything with this piece of equipment.
Like that's some sort of this weird like shield gauntlets thing, and then all my features died.
This just in, a braid cost $20 now.
All right.
I mean, I think that's one of the few creatures where one of the few equipments where I'm like, yeah, that would probably be too good if you could equip to one of those creatures. Like, there's probably some odd cases where you're like, fuck, if I could equip that to my opponent's creature, that'd possibly kind of neat. But it probably wouldn't be bad.
Well, I've actually had games that I've won where someone stole a creature I had that had like a Sword of Fire and Ice on it that I owned still, and like won the game because they attacked me with it. And I was like, sure, take 2.
Oh yeah,
Still control the trigger, yeah. Anyways, I gotta roll, guys. It was good to get to hang out with y'all. Good game.
Thanks for taking time to show up. I hope your kid feels better soon.
Oh, she'll be fine. She'll be all right. You know, it's really more the Johnny Depp. You know, you know, the Pirates of the Caribbean, man. They were on. All right, guys. Take it easy.
Hey, talk to you later, man. And with that said, I want to remind everybody that if you have watched this tournament and enjoyed this tournament and want to participate in this tournament, at the 10th point, the goal of the 10th point is to give people that don't live in areas where Canadian Highlander in paper is like a real thing. One of our goals is to be able to give you the opportunity to play Canadian Highlanders in a competitive event, in a competitive setting. And the best way to do it, to sign up, is sign up on the Discord. !Discord gets you there from Twitch chat. If you're in YouTube, look in the description down below. There's a link to the Discord, and just look in the tournament announcements channel. There's all the information that you need, or DM us. That also you can DM me as Gosmith, and we're super happy to give you any information that you might need. Otherwise you can also just type !next event that gets you to the sign up page for next event. If you're watching this on YouTube, there should be a link to our website in the description, and on the website you can find the next events page, and that has all of the stuff that you need. Also, as a reminder, we are here also thanks to the support of our viewers. And if you wanted to throw us your Prime sub or a regular sub, that is awesome. It helps us doing things like offering prizes, and it just keeps the whole shebang rolling. And keeps us being able to offering these to you every week, which currently we're doing off of the goodness of our heart. We're not making any money. All of the prizes, all of the money that we made so far has gone to prizes. But either way, with that said, Serge is live, but you know what?
I will just add one last comment now that we're talking about.
Sorry?
We'll just add one little comment.
Yeah, please.
If you're scared that this format is incredibly expensive, it can be, absolutely. When you're playing with like 10 fetches or Harmony and duels and Jason Mind Sculptors, sure thing. But if you're willing to either make some budget concessions, playing one decks that's been naturally very cheap, you can make some 50 takes or less even sometimes that are really good. Clear options being things like Mono Red is incredibly strong. It is one of the best decks in the format, and only like 5 cards at most cost like 5+ ticks in that deck. And that's like, I don't know, the Great Rebel, maybe a couple other cards I can't think of off the top of my head. Like, Black Lotus is currently, and this is a card that's actually spiked. On the cheap end, it's spiked up to like just over 11 ticks. Compare that to like real life, where it's like I'm not even going to go into prices of what the Black Does cost because it's fucking expensive. So you can definitely find some ways if you are either flexible what decks you want to play and like how many colors, because mono color is definitely cheaper. Or if you're like willing on playing like some worse cards, like I have a blue time ball list, which while I did get a card donated, see someone wasn't kind to do that. Besides that, it's just cards I bought on the cheap. I think that deck is around 100 ticks. I play a couple of fetches, don't even play Underground Sea. Like, it's solid. It's gone 3-0 in some tournament.
I mean, Zannty
So
is another player
you're
that
afraid,
has been playing
you're
Blue Red
afraid that you
Tempo.
can't win or have fun with a deck that isn't playing all the fetches, all the duels, all the Okos and Jason Mind Sculptors. That's not right. You can definitely kick some ass with. Yeah, you're not going to be optimal. That's rarely ever going to be the case if you're playing a deck on cheap. But you can definitely still kick some butt.
And
And
the
have some
other
fun.
thing that I want to mention, by the way, is that you absolutely can, like, there are rental services. Like, you can pay some amount of money each month if you don't want to. If you want to play with an optimal deck, you can just rent your cards. And there are ways to do that, like, for, relatively on the cheap, for like $30 a month or something like that. And if you'd rather do that and spend all the money that you want on all the money on, like, a fully decked deck, that's another way to do that in a way that is not crazy expensive.
I'm not saying a specific site because you can definitely find multiple. I just found one just searching MTGO rental, which has like a base package, which is 100 ticks you can borrow for a certain amount of time for $10 a month.
Yeah, and
that's
another thing that people on the Discord can get you helped with.
Absolutely.
And another thing is that
experiences they have different rental services as well. Like some are built a lot, frank.
Yeah. If another thing is that if you are on the Discord, the people play. For example, people play on paper via webcam on spell table. That's the thing that people do. If that's your jam more than MTGO, if that's your jam more than MTGO, then you can do it that way, right? Like it's kind of like this format is awesome. We want to offer a platform for people to play it, and MTGO is honestly the best in terms of, like, I think MTGO is the best in terms of like viewability, but if you want to jam games, there's a number of ways to do so, and the people on the Discord are do like play games of Highlander in a variety of ways. Your best bet is you want to enter this format, just get on the Discord. We can get you set up.
Yeah, there are people like Noman, sure, Noman particularly, like he decks, assuming you have no budget. Like if you're like, hey, what can I make on a cheap to someone like either I or like Noman, like just about anyone who's played this format for just a bit, they can at least probably come up with some sort of suggestion. Someone want a white deck or like a blue X tempo deck could probably be made for a decent money. Like I mentioned, time for sort of combo control deck.
Yeah, like for example, Zannty is a friend of mine, and he's been entering the tournament with Blue Red Tempo deck that he made for $50. That was his budget, and he's been doing okay. Like his results aren't exactly gonna blow anybody out of the water, but he's doing fine. Like he's not like losing every round, right? Like he's went 3-1, 2-2s, that sort of thing.
I'm trying to figure out where like Paradox Academy is and fetches and stuff. Because I think that deck can get by with a more one-color mana base.
Alright.
Like things like that. If you can make some concessions on your always going to be the cards, not going to be expensive. You can easily build a cheap deck, some cheap decks.
I mean, in general, I feel that that's true in Canadian Highlander as a whole. That like your deck minus the 5 most expensive cards in the deck, and this is true both on MTGO and paper. Like your deck, if you take an optimal deck and cut like the 5 most expensive cards, chances are that your deck is not worth half what it was before. Like
absolutely.
Like if you have
That's
like
especially
you
true
start
in,
cutting, you know,
in,
the Brennan Sixes, the Uros, the Jace the Mind Sculptors, the Volcanic Islands of the thing, and then suddenly you end up with a deck that is significantly more affordable. And occasionally, like there are some decks where like that doesn't work because the expensive cards are the ones that make the deck tick. But that's not true for every deck, for sure.
Yeah. Like again, if you're playing a Storm deck, Black Roses is really important. But that card's actually sort of cheapish. Like, yeah, admittedly, you have a Storm deck probably just wants a better mana. Just for that.
Isn't LED kind of expensive?
But like, there's other decks we can get by on like a cheap.
Yeah, I mean, either way, like, I'm not exactly sure if Storm is the best example, but the thing is that, like, if you want to play a combo deck, there is a combo deck where you can do this treatment of carrying the 5 most expensive cards and have a reasonable combo deck that doesn't pay too much of a premium for it. Even, like, that is not... Yeah, like, WolfgangCloud saying, maybe in red deck you play Season Pyromancer or whatever, right? Like, but... If you the deck, red deck is gonna be still great without Season Pyromancer.
That's not a budget concern. That's just I don't think the card's needed. I think it's better free drop. Like, I think the only card that I can think of in mono red that's kind of a must and expensive, off the top of my head, is Eidolon's a Great Rebel. That's the only card I can think of. That's like exactly.
But also that's the thing where Eidolon is kind of like. Yeah, like your deck's bad if
you
have it, but you know,
it's
like mono red this deck is built on redundancy, so like you can find a number of cards that are kind of about as good as Eidolon, although obviously their individual strength is better. Combo decks are like a little bit more difficult because like you basically cannot really play Storm if Black Lotus is not in your deck, and Black Lotus isn't the most expensive card.
Actually, no, that Storm is without Black.
I think it's kind of hard. Like, okay, let me put it this way. You can... I say you can't probably wasn't the best way of describing it, but like you can, but you lose... Like, you lose an amount of win percentage that I would consider unacceptable, whereas probably replacing Eidolon the Great Rebel in mono red doesn't cost you as much in terms of win percentage. Like, the gap between not having a Lorus or having a Lorus is fairly significant.
Yeah, like, but let's be honest. As soon as you bought, like, if you're willing to do that, because it's a format, like once you got like a couple of expensive cards, like if you have like let's just hypothetically say you have all the fetches, all the duels. That's it. That's all you own for some reason, and just one of each, right? Then every deck is going to be fairly built. And
also, like, yeah, you can build up to it, right? Like, maybe you start with a budget deck, you start with budget blue-red tempo, and, like, 2 months down the line, you dump the $15 or however much it is to buy a Volcanic Island. And then another 2 months down the line, you buy a Scalding Turn and dump the other $15 or however much it is, right? Like, it's... you
don't have to, like, you can build a mono red deck. And even if you don't love mono red, I'm cheap. You can make something that just tests the format and see, like, even if I don't love this deck, that I'm
see what the format's about, and then slowly work on a deck that you think you'll like more. It's a perfectly reasonable approach. Okay, with that said, I am going to close the stream. As I was saying earlier, Surge is online, but I think that what I'm gonna do is actually going to raid. Oh no, they're not online anymore. I was going to raid Tapito Close because they had the fewer viewers and they were playing Magic, and then they stopped streaming before, of course, they did. So
give me a second. I can see if there's anyone of note.
I'm just going to shove us Serge Wise because might as well send us over to a Highlander friend. So yeah, I will see you on the other side of the raid. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.